Little Tommy Tompkins was the dunce and what a fool in the way.
Welcome, everyone. I'm not going to go into my tedious computer problems or running
don't.
layouts. Sarah, welcome back. Everyone's wondering what's an update from you verbally, not in the chat.
Well, you see, 5 minutes before the show, Arm decided to reboot his computer.
No, I was forced to because of Adobe. I think Joni's going through that in the chat stuff, but that you just go, you try to do something, and these motherfuckers make you update it. And for the life of me, they will never tell you why it's better. The update never improves anything. It just ruins your life. I've gone on Reddit. I've told you a million times, and there's threads about Windows updates are ruining my life. There's like 40 threads about it.
It probably doesn't help that you have 1 megabyte of space available in your memory on your
You know,
computer.
honey, how much space I got?
You download so much bullshit.
That's true. That's true.
And you never delete it.
Try doing the show without downloading everything.
Even though for Christmas, I got you like a 2,500 terabyte hard drive, and I don't think you've ever used it.
To make 25?
Just so we could start on time for once.
I don't think you realize, Toots. You can't have enough, as the notorious B.I.G. said, more gigabytes, more problems. You can't have enough space. Yeah, you can't.
You drive me up the wall. Let's continue.
Joni, if you're listening, I want your comment. I just want to have you on for a cameo appearance because I wanted your commentary on what Shane McGowan means to Ireland and the world of music. I'm not going to have like a huge panel tonight because we're doing a transcript later. But I wanted you and, if not, Judy Tenuna or Bon Jovial. I mean, I think you musophiles know him way better than I do. My affiliation with him is strictly Deppian. Strictly Deppian. I wouldn't know who he was. Although I do think that, by the way, rest in peace, Shane McGowan. He is an icon in Ireland and in America. Hooper says, "Rip Shane." Yeah, Hooper was the one who told us to watch fucking Pot of Gold.
I made it 10 minutes and I was so depressed I turned it off.
Bingo. Thank you, Frank the Tank. Thank you for all your support and warm comments. You're such a mensch. There's a feeling in the air. You can get it anywhere except in Calgary. Bingo, Arm. That's why I'm a Luddite. I'm not a Luddite. You can't spin plates. I'm somewhere between a Luddite and Jeff Schick. I don't know where I am. I think everybody has pockets of things they master and little hiccups or blind spots when it comes to computers. Some stuff you just don't do, and stuff I do. And I don't know where I stand. Sometimes I'm good and sometimes I feel like a Luddite. I really do.
Well, cleaning it out once in a while helps.
What the hell is he gonna say?
Oh, so I got business. I got business.
Do it.
I haven't done this in a while. Okay. I want to thank Ida. I want to thank Kathy. I want to thank Mr. Smith, as always, all of them, as always, for their continued generosity, even though we have been gone for a month. Thank you for getting us back on track immediately with our very first episode. If you can, and I feel weird saying this after not doing this for a month, but super chat, please. Venmo is an option. Cash App is an option. I want to thank all of you for waiting here for us. And we are getting back on schedule now. All that's left in my life of 2023 year of crap, all that's left is me moving now. So I could be packing right now, but I chose to be with you all. So I thank you. I love you all. And shut up, Arm. I'm not done. Thanks for sticking with us.
I've never seen anyone have
Slurp.
dealt more bad hands than you, unless it's like Aoki in the poker episode of 21 Jump Street, which comes in threes is an understatement, I think, with you, right?
I think in 30s. It seems it comes in 30s. They left the zero off.
Endless.
Oy,
You think?
yeah. All right, let me since I will discuss real quick what has happened this year. I'm the kind of person, if I say it out loud, I'm going to jinx it. So I'm on the downhill slope. I'm almost at the end of this crappy year. So what happened? I spoke on this, for a bit, or in an earlier episode, I think the San Francisco episode. My ex died after 2 months of me, sending in police to do wellness checks on him. He lost his job. He fell into a deep depression, stopped taking his stroke medication. They found him, I think it was July 31st. I got a knock on the door at 11 p.m. August 9th, my father died. My father, I'm convinced, lived long enough to see my ex dead. And then his heart gave away.
And that was a week apart?
What?
That was 1 week apart of each other?
9 days.
Oh,
10
shit.
days. So the last thing I said to my dad was, I love you. He said, I love you back. That's good enough for me, Found out 20 years before his death, he signed the wrong kind of life insurance policy. So mother got a grand total of 1,500 when she thought she was going to get, a nice amount to live for a year before she'd have to sell the house. So had to put his funeral on a credit card. So anyway, what happened after that? Put the house on the market, sold the same day. Thank God. But the downside of that is you now have to pack because the buyer wants you out in 3 weeks. So you got to pack up 15 years and a garage, a shed, and a back room full of tools. We have no idea what he needed them for or what they were used for. So a lot of that stuff we just had to give away. Filled up $1,000 dumpster. Still had to fill a moving truck to the brim to get her over here. So she moved 100 miles. She is now 10 miles away. Anyway, that's done. She is now getting over the flu. We're unpacking. Now I'm packing and I'm going to be living with my mother. I guess it is that era in my life that's about to begin. Anyway, moving forward.
Did you
That was
say
a
that
nice ramble.
Did you say you and your mom have a Roseanne
Jesus
and
Christ.
Sarah Gilbert dynamic at one point?
God, I don't know.
I don't know how I remember that.
My mother and I get along. My mother, yeah, it sucks. My mother and my father were just, destined to be together.
Right.
She knows nothing else. So it's really hard. Anyway, we're moving forward. Let's go.
Well, Sarah, everything is going to be on the upswing now. You had great people in the chat sending you really kind words all the way through. You're Joni's hero and the strongest women we know outside of Liz Cheney and Black Canary.
Anyway, yeah. Eyes are wiped. Let's move. Let's move forward.
Thank you, Hooper, 45. Like we said, Ida Greenbacks.
Yes, thank you.
Kathy Scott, who I think next episode she's going to be on Jump Street with us. Orpheus, 3.3 seconds. No, that's that's you are. We've been dancing around that because we need you to go to do your Amy.
We are gonna bring you and I, no matter what, because I got to pack tomorrow and hang up my mother's curtains in her living room because she can't do it. But anyway, you and I are gonna record that episode tomorrow. I don't care if it's 10 o'clock at night. I got to get the Patreon going again.
Do your snap, yeah. Do your Amy Pearson impression.
I can. I got schnot in my nose. Yeah. Okay, ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Amy, no! That's so weird. And again, everybody, I want to apologize for the Stuttering John late start to our show today. I apologize.
That's my fault, 100%.
Yes, it is.
But again, I can't. I'm sitting here for preparing for 3 hours previously to that, and the more shit you're juggling, the more updates, the more videos, the more problems you incur. It sounds all right now. I haven't seen. Has it been a hiccup yet?
No, you
And
sound
I had
fine.
no choice but to restart. It was Adobe. It's always there's something going on when we read the transcript and the apps that come with it. They really are prickly, problematic, and it just constant. G Canada says, "Okay, I can't stay. I've been with the girl for another week. Hopefully, all he's talking about is stepping out. Hopefully, I
Yeah.
can put her to sleep." G Canada, welcome. Hopefully, come out. J.I. Young, welcome. Good to see you again. Pour one out for the homies that we've lost. Speaking of Big. Frank the Tank, forget that. Come live with me in Canada, Sarah. I have an extra room in my. He offered me the igloo the other night, and I didn't
I
say
don't
no.
I don't like the cold. I'm sitting in front
Unlimited.
of a heater right now.
That makes one of us.
As long as
I
somebody's there to warm me up.
a lot of booze hounds. We love the cold because we can keep our alcohol in the trunk of the car or any kind of, and it just
That's kind of pitiful.
yeah. Yeah, or outside, as a matter of fact, and we like to
It's
wear
really
and I get
pitiful.
hot really. I love wearing shorts. Do not tell. I'll wear shorts in any weather. I was taught by Brendan Lang you can wear shorts all year round. And Eddie Vedder, as a matter of fact. Speaking of Eddie Vedder, we are going to get to our No, it's going to be titled Depp Memphis 3. Um,
Oh, that's good
pr-
because I was thinking about what to put
probably
on the thumbnail.
probably next. Yeah, that's the title I was in my head. Depp Memphis 3. And there's going to be some people in on that. There's been like, Judy Tenunu, Kathy Scott, Autobot. They've all been doing their due diligence about the Damien Eccles. And I kind of want to take not a counterpoint, but Sarah, there is resistance to him being like the innocent, right? Depp loves to. I'm circumspect about taking Depp's credibility for who he is here. The man who lionizes Allen Ginsberg and Roman Polanski and lets Lily Rose in middle school live with a 24-year-old. I take Depp's credibility on these who he thinks is a good guy with a grain of salt, and we'll get to his other
I have
body.
misjudged many a folk,
Yeah,
so I can't tell somebody they're wrong for believing in somebody. I don't know if he's guilty or not. I don't know. I still have to find 5 minutes or 3 hours, I think, to watch the documentary. And I'm
Ben
just watching the first one. I can't watch 3 of them.
Benjamin. More Benjamins than a Hughes Brothers screenplay.
That's fine. All
Benj-
Benjamins I know are fantastic.
Benjamin said before my excuse should have been I was in line at Costco. That's the greatest excuse. Like on a Friday, that's the greatest excuse in the world. Like a holiday Friday. Have you ever been at Costco like a holiday Friday?
Yes, and I got COVID, so
Ah,
I never
that's
again.
right.
That was the last time.
Not that that's funny. He goes, hopefully 2025. Belinda Carlisle has a new album out. Keep your head up. Yeah, that's the elixir for everybody.
Yeah.
Belinda Babe Lewis, welcome. Sarah, what year? 2024 is going to be our year. You deserve great things. Yes, she does. I agree, Babe Lewis. Your honeyed voice brings joy to us all. Hopefully, hear her voice in the vein of Natalie Maines next week for the Depp Memphis 3.
Do I have to put a twang on it, or do I already have enough of a twang for Natalie Maines?
She kind of goes, Sarah never
Okay,
has to apologize to us. Only Arm does.
I agree.
I would be late to my own funeral.
Yes, you would.
Funeral. Funeral. Frank the Tank says, good point. Sarah has a hall pass. Arm has to go directly to the principal's office.
Ugh.
And it seems like you have no accountability, right? It's like you're like Depp, right? In Fairfax, you have no accountability. You can
No, I've
leave the
had enough
trial to the
accountability
last
lately.
day.
I'm done.
Booze hounds can't put I knew it. I knew it, Brendan. I knew it. I saw the word hound and I saw Brendan. I didn't read any further. I'm like, here comes a dance song parody man reference. Sure enough, there it is. This guy
Oh,
loves Dan the Song Parody
but
Man.
Brendan is the wrestling fan, right?
Yeah, he's a wrestling fan,
Okay.
and he's a very, very, very. I think Brendan's the type of guy that he would know. He would have listened to Shane McGowan and the Pogues and the huge Mick, like big fat Mick, big fat Blake Griffin face, and he is a guy that would have listened to the Popes and the Pogues, would fucking calling him, and Shane McGowan way before anybody else dared to. When probably, I'm guessing the early '90s, he'd probably listen to them, and he would tell
Okay.
you to listen to it, and you'd have to listen to him because his hip radar for music is second to none.
But I was gonna say, I am upset that I'm doing the show tonight because I could be watching SmackDown. But I have to admit I didn't watch the pay-per-view. I have since. But I watched CM Punk's return and I had a tear come out. I am ashamed to admit.
Do you know what Fuji Vice is
I have no idea.
in
Is it
his moniker?
a
Yeah,
wrestling thing?
it's
Okay.
from WWF
Mr. Fuji?
Primetime. Yes, Mr. Fuji.
Okay.
They did a thing where the WWF got out of control with their gimmicks, and they did a thing where they were coming out with like television series. So Don Morocco and Mr. Fuji would team up in Fuji Vice, and they would film like a ridiculous. It's funny as hell, like a ridiculous preview of them in an action series. And I don't even know how to frame. I'm sure I could. I'm sure I have it on a hard drive somewhere. I can't remember what the other ones are. The Fuji Vice is the big one we all laughed at because it was the most ridiculous. It's them trying to act serious like in a Miami Vice. It's the height of like Miami Vice. Melvin says, yeah, Costco sells COVID. You can get it
They
there,
did to
but not
me.
in bulk. Yes.
I got a good deal on it too.
Autobot says, I'm watching the Huskies play Oregon right now in the Pac-12 championship.
Oh, I thought maybe that was Oregon State. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't follow any of the college football teams in the state. And around here, that is a crime.
Well, college sports in general, right? I mean, like what this goes for basketball too. You can just take any team you want and you could put the top 50 All-Americans on the same team, and there's no regulating the talent. There's no draft. There's no salary cap. This just goes on and on and on. The same teams, like a college football score is 85-7.
Mm-hmm. I
And
know.
who is that for? What do you get out of watching that? I don't
Yeah.
understand. I don't understand they just developed a playoff system a few years ago. So I've always been very circumspect, and I haven't cared about college football in a very long time. And
The only
I don't
time
understand.
I know that there is an Oregon or Oregon State game is Interstate 5 is packed and it takes 2 hours to get 5 miles down the road.
It's a weird thing to be into. It's just like I said, it's anti-competition because you could do whatever you want. And that goes for like North Carolina or Kentucky playing Appalachian State and beating them by 70 in college basketball. You can go through the NBA and look at the guys from Kentucky, Sara. It's literally the NBA All-Star game, all on the same team out of Kentucky. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Go
Isabel
Browns.
says,
We're
"Hey,
talking about football. Go Browns. I'm
I'm
about
glad
to win the bet with you that the Browns are going to have a better record than the Steelers this year, and I'm very happy about that. Even with our fourth quarterback of the season.
Hooper says I saw the Pogues a couple times in the late
Okay.
'80s. Shenanigans all around. Fuji Bandito, that's the other one. Thank you, Autobot. That was the other right. So Mr. Fuji came out with like a series of action trailers, and it was just ridiculous. It was really, really funny if you get what they're going for. No, it is not. College football. How could it be more entertaining if 85-7? If there's no regulating the talent, if all the teams.
It's like a Dolphins Denver game.
I will say this: some of the rules in college football can be better, because the NFL pass interference is different. In the NFL pass interference, if you get interfered with, the ball goes where the interference happened. In college football, I think it's automatically 15 yards no matter what. So you're not getting that 1 yard line thing. I'm glad SAG Astra Isabel, welcome. Isabeau 8394 SAG Astra strike is up. Hope we will see the new shows and movies. Isabel, my question is, how did Depp film Modigliani during that strike? Is there some like Depp what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Is there like some Depp pass that Pacino and Depp don't have to adhere to the? Is it he thinks SAG and Astra didn't have my back for so long, so what do I care? Al Pacino gets some Modi pass as well. How did they do that? How did they cast and film and shoot that all right in the mush of the SAG Astra strike? How are they not blackballed?
I don't know. It'd
Is
be
it
fine if. Sorry, everybody. I know we love his movies. I wouldn't have been disappointed had they been
I was hoping it would
Put
be
on
too.
hold.
I was hoping it would be too. I was hoping it became. I was hoping it would be too.
He's not in it, right?
No, he's directing it.
Fine, then that's fine. I can say that.
That's one game arm. Generally, the games are excellent. I can't watch teenagers play football, Frank. I just can't. It just feels uncomfortable and wrong. And they only got a playoff system. I don't know, a few years ago. I don't know what I'm getting out of it. I can't watch. I need to watch the best of the best. My cousin had a great analogy for people who are too into college sports compared to pros, and he said it would be like preferring to watch a school play instead of like a major motion picture production, a Broadway with all the best actors at the same time. Like you're preferring to watch amateurs act, and you would never do that, right? It's only like it makes no sense. Why would you not always want to watch the best of the best do it? Hi, Johnny. Johnny Meyer. I was gonna. He's the one I wanted to ask about that. Thank you. He goes, did Johnny? No, so he filmed it in Budapest, and so Johnny's saying overseas films aren't covered. I don't think Hungary, Budapest. Yeah.
Makes
So,
sense.
but why would that stop the SAG-AFTRA from being angry at them? Wouldn't they
Read
still
what's on
take
the
it?
screen,
Isn't it solidarity?
but read it again.
Read what again?
Overseas films aren't covered.
No, I'm not saying that they're not. I'm saying that why
Maybe
would
somebody is mad, but he's not breaking any rules apparently.
I don't know. In order to
If
have,
you think he's the only person going out of the country to film stuff to get around this, you're crazy. They all know that's happening.
I don't know. I don't even know if that union ever was applicable to his life. You know what I mean? Like, what did that? It's all he's such on an island by himself, and I don't know if it's for the Johnny Myers of the world, right? That's whatever victories they have. The Johnny Depps of the world don't need their, he's on a whole different planet, but it's still, I don't know. To me, that's as egregious as anything. Filming an entire movie during the SAG-AFTRA strike. There's nothing about. I don't understand how they're not getting shit for it. You would think, right? And you need all the heavyweights you can get. Tons of A-list stars refuse to, and somehow they're just floating around in Europe and filming that whole thing, and no one says shit. I mean, SAG could make a statement. Yeah, it was filmed in another country, Isabel, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying why, in order to have solidarity, you can't flee to Europe and film your shit. How would that help anything? Like that would be, in order to really make a statement, you need the heavyweights to bow out and adhere to the strike. He wasn't on the picket lines. He didn't do anything like that. He just went to Europe and filmed. It's the opposite of solidarity with SAG-AFTRA, what he did. It's weird. He loves fleeing to Europe all the time, right? Whether it's the end of Fairfax, whether
Let's not get into this loop. Can't hear you.
there's a plane waiting for him to go to Europe to duck all American accountability all the time, right? It's always Europe, motherfucker. All the idols. Oh man. All right. Speaking of Europe, Shane McGowan. There's so many articles you could read. I guess I'll choose this one. I hesitate to present this because it's so much. It's probably easier to read it from where I'm standing.
If you do, take the chat off.
We're all rolling joints. Okay. See this?
Mm-hmm.
This is delay. Okay, ready? So this is from The Guardian. So we'll all roll joints and watch Netflix with him. Irish folk artist and creative genius of Shane McGowan. Lankum and Mary Wallopers, Lisa O'Neill, recall their encounters with Pogue singer, explain the music at the heart of the Irish identity. There would be all sorts of rumors flying around. He is Eamon Doran's with Huey from the Fun Lovers Criminal. They've been the last for 3 days and they're still going. Darragh Lynch of the Irish folk group Lankum is reminiscing about his teenage years, speculating on the movements of Shane McGowan in Dublin as a Rimbaudian rogue and colossus of Celtic song. McGowan packed millennia of a rare magic into his 65 years. He's older than I thought. I always thought not that that's yeah, I thought he was Depp's age, and not that that's a huge difference, but he was born in 57. I thought he was younger than that. Now, as one of the most luminous calendar years of Irish music in an age nears close, Lynch is one of the several folk music heroes saluting an outlier who forged the path forward. With Shane, there was just an absolute lack of pretense on every single level, he says. At no point was he trying to be anything for anyone. He never tried to fit into some category. I agree with that. It doesn't seem like he tried to popularize himself. Didn't have to, I guess. From the first moment to the last, he was a pure artist coming from a genuine place. That's much rarer than you might think. Although he was born in Kent, which is England, I believe. McGowan's aversion to artifice was nurtured by Irish music, spending 6 years of his childhood immersed in the sound of traditional folk song in his mother's home in rural County Tipperary. He gained a deep gratitude for the lineage in which he and the Pogues would soon, 20 odds later, masterfully flip the script with the albums Rum, Sodomy, and Lash. If I Should Fall from Grace with God. Among young Irish folks, upsetters who consider McGowan's verse in songs as Rainy Night in Soho, A Pair of Brown Eyes Akin to Holy Writ, is Andrew Hendy of Dundalk Balladeers of the Merry Wallopers. While teenage Lynch mainly relied on Dublin whispers and his whereabouts, Hendy and his brother and fellow Merry Wallopers member Charles got a little more up close and personal with the man behind the lore. Here's a picture of him, I guess, from the time. We used to go to Shane's house and roll joints for him. Since we used to watch Netflix with him, he'd be sitting there watching Ancient Aliens, laughing at the conspiracy theories. He was incredibly normal and comfortable to hang out with, watching him and watching the telly with him. I think he was surrounded by a lot of people who wanted to kiss his ass. Johnny Depp included, which he found patronizing. We told him to fuck off a few times, as did us. That's called friendship here in Ireland. It's unclear if it stretched to a mutual appreciation of Ancient Aliens, but Lisa O'Neill is another musician who spent quality time with McGowan, having named her album Heard long time ago, line her favorite Pogues Lullaby of London. It's hard to think of an Irish folk artist who has filtered the imagery and sheer indecision of McGowan's craft in recent years. Let me go down to the cause of death, because it's a brain tumor, right? It's a brain cancer. Why are they not? It's sometimes you just want to see. They don't. I went into like a tribute to him and stuff. As Christmas Day approached, McGowan would have been 66 years old. Hurdles into view with the small matter of what's certain to be ramped up ubiquity of fairy tale in New York. She may have done it justice, and it's one of the best songs ever written by Shane. And it's established. It's amazing. There's a likely rainy night and lullaby. Come on, why is there no composite cause of death here? Because it's too. This one's like showing you an insider's thing instead of like a. Let me go to this New York Times story and see if it guaranteed it's blocked. Guaranteed. Am I showing up here, Sarah?
Yeah,
I mean, is the article showing up or is it sooner?
so far, but you've got the pop-up at the very bottom.
Okay, McGowan died Thursday at 65, left behind a body of work without precedent, pure merging traditional Irish music, punk music, and songs that can be overheated and sublime, jaded and big-hearted, earthy and wistful, but none of his works can halt every conversation in any pub like Fairy Tale of New York. Its opening piano notes can send the whole house into an arms around a stranger's shoulder sing-along. Mr. McGowan's writing of the song. Okay. And so he died yesterday, I want to say, like in the evening.
Wasn't it the day before? I'm so uneducated on him and when he died. I've been in a fog, but wasn't it the day before?
I feel like it was yesterday.
Okay, 3 a.m. on Thursday.
Okay, so it's kind of yesterday, right?
Kind of.
Here's some videos of Shane McGowan that might be germane to us and Depp. Does anybody, like, how many people in the chat listen to his music, really listen to his music in America? And this is for any European brethren in there. there's a lot of music that we like to say we listen to because it makes us look cool, right? And this
Mhm.
is he is one of them. I think there's a lot of people. If you said you listened to the Pogues and it gave you like this cool factor that maybe you didn't earn or deserve. It's just we have these bands that you you like to say you listen to, but did you listen to it when before everybody else did? This is the documentary Crock of Gold. This is like a trailer for it.
Oof.
Yeah, you tried to watch it, right? You couldn't make it through, right?
He had a very loving wife at the end
What was
who
your
stood
take
by
on
him
the
and supported him.
Sarah? Melvin wants to know if you envision like a Golden Girls sitcom with your mom
No.
in the making.
No. No dates. My mother will not be dating. She is forever linked to my father. She has already announced there will never be another man, etc., etc., and I would be the same way. But I'm not moving in there alone with my mother. Somebody else is moving in with me, somebody that I am in a relationship with. So it's going no dating.
Christina Fitzsimmons says, "No, Johnny separated from Hollywood. He has his own production company." Yeah, I know. I know about Infinite Nile, Christine. Who are you talking to here?
Oh God,
Um,
shut up.
no, I can't believe she said that to me. I, you know, you need. How do I put this? If he doesn't, there was an interview we played with him where, and I agree with him on this. He was kind of saying, well, I don't like that they put the other people on these production sets in such a bad way. You know, like they're threatening the food people, the food service people, the transportation people, the lower production people were put out of work who aren't in that union. So he was saying in an interview I read with him, what about them? What
Mhm.
about them? I mean, there's writers in Hollywood who are as replaceable as anything on the. I mean, I'm amazed at some of the people who get to call themselves writers. So I'm not really worried about their protection. I really could, if you're not talented, I don't really want you in the industry. You can go away. And I was kind of hoping some of that would thin the herd. Um, and we know who the hacks are, right, guys? We know who the hacks are. I don't. I still don't understand no matter what he considers himself, you'd have to fight that fight and to stand up for the little guy and stuff. And it's a scab's a scab, right? You're going out on your own. He doesn't get a pass. Him and Pacino. That's breaking the strike as much as anybody did. Everything they did, they filmed that during their strike, the solidarity. There was a bunch of A-listers who were on the picket lines trying to, I never saw him once.
I
So I
will
don't know.
say, even though Mr. Depp and I are, of course, not on the same level professionally, but if my workplace went on strike, watch me scab as I moonwalk into the building. I will be working every day. I will cross those lines.
Yeah.
I got to work.
Well, I think most people are you it's not a team sport acting. Less what they think. They all act like, oh, we care about you care about yourself. You're an attention whore. You got into it because you need attention. You don't care about the team. You don't care about you care about you. You care about your roles. You care about you. And it's this fake team spirit they try to put together when SAG. Speaking of which, Johnny Meyer, he goes, you can declare yourself FICOR with SAG, and then you can work from a non-union and keep your union membership.
Hmm.
Johnny, do you consider Depp and Al Pacino scabs for breaking the strike? I mean, do they deserve a pass because they're A-list and sacrosanct? Do you as a guy who is on the front lines, do you consider them at offensive and scabby and breaking the strike? I would like to know from someone like him. He's giving my opinion on it. Great question, Melvin. Sarah definitely has a Darth. Sarah has a yes, she does have a Dorothy. See, Frank, that's the ultimate compliment you can give Sarah is comparing her to B. Arthur. What do you think about that, Sarah?
I that is one of the greatest compliments I could get in my life.
Joni says one of the Pogues gave out about this article this morning for being factually incorrect. I know, and I had to read it. I'm sure it's there's no good thing. I mean, you're always going to be someone's always going to claim they know more about it. There's nothing. It sounded complimentary, but Johnny lost 400 million in the end. I don't know. Depp and money, right, Sarah? What are the numbers?
I don't know that
We'll
we'll
never
ever
know.
know.
We'll never know. All I know is private jets don't ever go away, and full security teams never go away. No matter what he's doing, he could have $4 to his name. There'll always be a private jet, and there'll always be full security following him around everywhere he goes. I know that when I'm broke, when I have $100 to my name, I don't take private jets anywhere. So the broken him
Well,
do not.
let's just say this. After he wrote the probably around $15 million check to Brown Rudnick, I don't think he even blinked
Yeah.
hard. So he's all right. He's doing much better than I am.
Initially, 650 is the number that was thrown around for a long time. And where it really stands, nobody ever knows. Everyone thinks they're an expert on his finances. And I say that, guys, my stance as a guy like him is never broke. As you could tell with this Red Sea Film Festival where he went to, right? What was the thing, Sarah? Remember the Saudi Arabian guy that Tracy Jacobs was talking about that was up his ass?
Yeah, I forget the name though.
I forget his name too. I'm guaranteed he's part of this Red Sea
He
Film
probably
Festival.
approached him. I'll be your life coach,
Yep.
and or wellness coach or whatever, and that's how they wedged themselves in.
Brendan's right. Shane she definitely could have used a drinking coach. Oh, thank you, Hooper. It's called that. This is what I saw yesterday. I was reading
Encephalitis.
Encephalitis. Shane basically drank himself to death.
Mm.
It's a great way to go. Like a drinking coach would have solved that.
Yeah, look at him. He looked so happy and comfortable at the end.
And it was some kind of brain disease. And so, like Depp, Depp kind of romanticizes that stuff. I wonder. You kind of wonder with Depp if that's the way he's looking to go.
Well, you got to think, you got so many of those chemicals over a long period of time flushing through your brain. It's not going to fuck your brain up.
Right.
Like Amber Heard is popping mushrooms like it's bubblicious, and you don't think with her personality disorders, you don't think that's going to set something off even more than it already has in the
Yep.
future?
Do you think Depp's dream life in his scenario, like, and go back to the kids and Bruce Witkin in the early 80s, and do you think that his dream scenario career was that they wanted to be the American Pogues? Do you think that that's really hit, if he could map out the way he thought his life should have gone, it would be the Pogues of America, that the kids would be them, and that would be just like they would never sell out, and they'd be worshipped like this. Do you think that he wishes he was Shane McGowan? Do you think
Oh, I'm
he'd switch
sure.
places with Shane McGowan?
No.
Even in death?
No. No.
I would love to ask him that question. I think his idolatry and his need to be around all things outlaw and cool factor, I honestly think he might admit to he would switch places with Shane McGowan.
I don't know. I don't agree with that.
You could be right. You could be right, but I'd like to hear it out of his mouth, because I really feel that in his mind, he was always chasing the Shane McGowans of the world in career, and even as a top tier A-list actor, he's always chasing that dragon, trying to get
Well,
back to it. Look at my cool friends. Look at all these. I'm not an actor. I'm a musician who is an actor as a part-time thing. And
well, and like you have heroes like a McGowan, and that helps to, as a youngster, romanticize the chemicals you put in your body on a continued basis. So it brings you one step closer to your heroes.
Johnny Meyer says, at the end of the day, I don't envy what other people have. I'm happy with, that's good for you, Johnny. Happy. You got to think that way. I think I fell victim to a false headline in some news story that Depp going through 60 foot. I hope you do maintain that. Everybody should think like that, but it's hard to. We're all jealous. We're all bitter. We all think we deserve more. Yes, liver failure and assorted associated conditions. Here's another video. Let me go. You want to see Depp with Shane McGowan?
Sure.
Okay, this is the two of them. Somebody put together a video here. Oh, and that's Shane McGowan did a song and a video apparently when they weren't making videos anymore, called "The Woman's Got Me Drinking," and apparently Depp stars in this video if you haven't seen it, and it
Is
goes
this
like
an
this.
actual music video?
Yeah.
Okay, you need to stop it frequently. Hello.
I think it's a fan-made video.
Oh,
He
okay.
never actually made a video. So this dude made this. This is like that Depp picture is either him in not Don Juan DeMarco or The Man Who Cried. That's the look he had for both those movies.
Yeah, that almost.
I'm gonna skip around.
Yes, please. We have to.
It took a lot to film this video. Depp stumble into a bar and just take shots. It took 3 weeks to film. It took longer to film Modi. Modi took. He's playing. See him playing?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so he's playing.
That's me. I'm in the video too.
He's playing apathetic guitar on Shane McGowan's right, our left, and he's. Again, I can't tell what note he's playing as usual. Not plugged in, can't tell what note he's playing. Hair over there. Okay, I don't want to get a copyright on this. They're the laziest video on the face of the earth, everyone. Depp walks into a bar, takes shots, and plays.
It doesn't have to be a Scorsese film, though. It's still
Apathetic
supposed to
guitar with
be
Shane
punk
McGowan.
rock. It's cool to be cheap in punk rock, and you've got Johnny Depp in your video for nothing.
Here's the two of them talking together. Great comeback by Shane McGowan. So he said, I'm falling asleep. What makes you think I could stay awake watching Pirates? So now, everyone, can we drop this Pirates 6 shit after that? Can we drop this? He's going to do Pirates 6 after what you just heard. Now, he's telling Disney, I fell asleep. I hate these movies to look cool in front of Shane McGowan. Why would you do 6? Stop with the Pirates rumors. He's not doing a Pirates 6. Don't talk about it. Don't if somebody brings it up in the thread, you're getting blocked.
We've known that. Oh God, no, you won't. But we won't block you first of all, but we've known this since the trial a year ago that he's not doing 6.
Number 2, how do you get fired from a movie that's never been made?
Well, they're going to probably have Leslie Jones play Jack Sparrow.
Leslie Jones. That's a great sketch you just wrote, Sarah. Leslie Jones is Captain Jackie Sparrow.
Oof.
Captain Rory Sparrow for Josh Foster. Hooper says, I've been a Pogues fan since the 80s. I grew up in an Irish neighborhood in Queens, and it was mandatory. Yeah, I guess the Irish really do stick to their own like that, and they really do. I don't know, like I said, my friend Brendan loves Sinead O'Connor, and no one listened to her. I mean, like, beyond nothing compares to you. Like, it was an Irish thing, not a pop thing. It was like an Irish thing, and she's far more prolific than the humanoids would have you believe. So yeah, there's.
You're so cute, you might be sick.
Were there subtitles to that?
Fucking horribly loud. Well, maybe we've known each other, Shane.
He loves those. He loves kissing rock star ass, doesn't he? Jesus Christ. He could have said anything and he would have given him that same spit take. There's no situation where he wouldn't have spit it out. Tom Waits is Autobot. That's so good. That's the name. Tom Waits is the other name you bring up, Sarah, when you want to give yourself a rock and roll cool factor that you listen to. That is the perfect name, Autobot. The Dropkick Murphys, the Pogues, right? Well, that's part of the Irish. But Tom Waits is the perfect name to give yourself a cool factor. I listen to this cool music, and then you have Tom Waits. It's in the top 5 names. Someday we're gonna. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to throw names at me in the chat of like, what bands do you bring up to give yourself a cool factor? You don't listen to them, but you say you listen to them, and that makes you look. I mean, this is like the Pogues are right there, and certainly Tom Waits, and there's a lot of them. Depp is look at whenever Depp talks about music, he'll rattle them off over and over. Johnny Cash was one for a while. Remember that the Johnny Cash phase? Yeah,
a little more mainstream though. A lot of people here where I live throughout Pink Floyd, and they can name 2 songs.
Yeah, it's Jeff Buckley. That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Autobot's got them all. That's perfect. We gotta compile a master list of that.
Or like some people here too, be like,
Death looms.
you know, I really like Green River more than Pearl Jam. Like, no, you don't.
Yes, Johnny. Speak of Pirate 6 increases my blood without question. I cannot tell you, and I don't need you to feel sorry. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm my own worst enemy, Googling this crap every day to try to do this show. But I cannot tell you, Sarah, you'll back me up on this. The rumors for how many years now of Margot Robbie and
Oh
just
yeah.
on and on and on. For how long we've been reading this stuff and nothing happens, and fake Jerry Bruckheimer interviews that never happened, and I Nick Cave, there's good stuff, guys, good stuff. Nick Cave, thank you, Melvin. Nick Cave, Nick Drake, thank you guys. Deathloom, oh man, bravo, chat, bravo. These are all perfect names I've seen over and over again when people have to give you a list of the stuff they're listening to. God damn it, this is good stuff. Ben, she's 60. Who's 69?
I think they're guessing my mother's age, but she is 68.
She's
Going
Shane
to be
McGowan's age, Sarah.
69. Mm-hmm.
Run the Jewels is a Depp reference. That's the guy from who's the rap? Oh God, what is the Killer Mike, right? And he was in
I
Killer
don't know.
Mike. Lou Reed's a good one, Melvin. Thank you, Melvin. Good one. Perfect. Lou Reed's a really good one. Killer Mike was had a small role in fucking Jesus Christ, I'm losing it. City of Lies. So it was in that whole thing with the rap game and Tupac and Biggie and Run the Jewels. I think is it rap or is it hip hop or is it something else? Is it an Ice-T fusing together? Ruben Studdard is a good one, Brandon. That's perfect. Ruben Studdard's Wang Chung's a really good one. 69. Here's what else we got here? Here is Shane McGowan. Here's Depp telling a story about Shane McGowan at a kind of an interview he did with I don't know what it's for. I can't remember.
It doesn't matter.
I don't know if it's Leonard Maltin or someone like that or Johnny Depp and wow. Okay. So here's Depp telling the Shane McGowan story.
Johnny, let's wrap this up with the funniest, the craziest story you've ever had with Mr. Shane McGowan.
Well, good night, everyone.
Přeji všem dobrý večer.
That's a tough question.
It's really tough. Těžká otázka. Really tough.
I'm going through various, in my mind, I'm going through various stages of hangover over 30 plus years. And I will say that in terms of, there's the gravity of the throbbing gristle in your head with a hangover, the pounding of the brain. That's one thing. That's the weekend. You have that on Monday. I had someone had shot an arrow directly between, in this dead center in the middle of my brain, from my first days with Shane. The one thing I learned is never, ever try to keep up with Shane McGowan or Hunter Thompson, for that matter. You don't try to keep up.
For all intents and purposes, according to Sean Bett and Bruce Witkin, don't try to keep up with Johnny Depp. Right? That's all we keep hearing over and over again. I have my suspicions he can keep up with them.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Especially, going back to that San Francisco audio that we kind of got a lot of flack for in the comments, but when you're
Why? You didn't make it. He recorded it. He did it.
No, I agree, but there, of course, we had some maybe not so dick-sucking comments about Johnny Depp in there that we made, of course. So, that brings out a certain
Did you
group.
think you doctored it or something? That's him on the audio.
No. I think people were critical a bit. Some of us were critical a bit of his attitude in that audio. But who cares? Whatever. And that's going to bring in a lot of the people that think he's the angel from heaven and does nothing wrong and he's unhuman.
Yes, that's what we're not
blah
going to
blah
do
blah.
here. Yep.
I agree.
You ever see that God
no.
Dad thing? The stupid Deptford wives, the phony fans who latched on from they. I guess they're like too young to know. And there's this God.
I don't even
Dad
want to
thing.
acknowledge it
Oh,
really,
it
and I
makes
did
my
it too
skin
much.
crawl.
But
It's so
let me
silly.
finish. What was depressing about that audio to me was he is vacuuming up cocaine in the recording. You can hear him. That depresses me so much for him. It's something we talk about all the time. You're almost 60. You're in your mid 50s then. It's going to hit you unexpectedly one day. Your heart's going to blow up, or you're going to have a stroke, or something is going to happen that you aren't going to recover from. So maybe you will be in a similar situation to your idol Shane McGowan toward the end. You could be in a wheelchair if you keep inhaling the cocaine and getting drunk off your ass. What if you fall and hit your head? You tumble down the stairs, et cetera, et cetera. It's so sad to me that
For all the wrong reasons.
I'm not done. As of 2016, he was still acting like his heroes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course I know what you're saying. You Bruce even more pathetic. Reading Bruce Whitkin's transcript, he's very, very adamant about he didn't even think about cocaine until like later in life. This is not an old person. This is not something you grow into. This is a young person's drug. This is not, so for him doing it, it's even more pathetic because now you're emulating idols well into your 50s, taking a drug that could do you in it with a heart, and you have kids. So if you cared about your kids in any way, shape, or form, there's not an option. Does anyone know anyone who's done cocaine past the age of 40 something? I don't even know. Certainly, I don't know where to get it, but it's just I've always thought of that as a death sentence.
Well, and let me tell you, my ex, we're talking about the ex again for a second, was, I suspect, because he was spotted at a party doing cocaine and he had high blood pressure anyway. Very soon after that, I was in the hospital with him for 10 days because he had a stroke. It happens. It's not a harmless drug.
I don't know. It's so to me, one of the fascinating things about it is how capricious it is. Isn't it like highly illegal in terms of like shouldn't the DEA be like all over his life? Like I say, like just sitting having cars, like just sit outside the
No, they have bigger fish to fry than Johnny Depp.
I don't know. Wouldn't he just take where's he getting it from? Where does he get it from?
That's my question. But what if he gets it from somebody he usually doesn't, and there's something else in it that shouldn't be in it, and that ends it immediately. It's just, it's time. I respect him too much. He is, if he were to go out from a bad batch of cocaine, what a waste.
Yeah, I mean, what's a waste for waste for him, waste for his family, and all for what? At its core, is this some kind of mental illness that causes, or you're just so intent on idolizing Thompson and Shane McGowan and Keith Richards?
But that could be the mental illness right there. It's not or it's, he latches on, and we've said this before. He's an empty canvas. So whoever he surrounds himself with, he tends to absorb their lifestyle and just do what they want to do. And, from what I observe, I'm not an expert, but, when he's with Amber Heard, he's absorbing her friends into his life, bringing in more cocaine. I'm not blaming her solely, but, he gets into whoever he's with, he gets into what they're into. That's why I think when he was with Vanessa for so long, you know, he kind of had his act cleaned up from what we saw. Um, he was, you know, doing the more successful movies. You know, he had the kids that maybe calmed him down for a year or two, but it's just whoever he's around, he takes it in.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And when you're, I in the throes of that, you know, you're constant. His first order of business is to worry about what substances is going to fuel me throughout. And I think, like you said, when you're trying to keep up with, well, you didn't say this. It had me thinking when you brought up the Coachella con artists and the Eastern Columbia building, and you're hanging out with people who are 20 years plus younger
At
than you. So you're
least,
trying to
yeah.
keep up with them.
Mhm.
And you're sitting in this Hicksville campfire and you're sharing all sorts of recreational drugs. You're not keeping up with people 20 something years. You shouldn't be around that whole. What was the average age of the people, say, like that
Oh,
campfire
they
at
were in
the
their
Hicksville?
20s.
They're all in the 20, and he's there and he's doing the same drugs they're doing,
He's 50.
and he's 50. I think he had just turned 50 when
I
the.
do believe he has thoughts that he wants to escape. And I think he believes that inhaling the cocaine and the booze and all of that help him to numb. I totally believe that.
But also too, you know, he's also emboldened by, he doesn't have to drive. He doesn't have to get around. He doesn't have to do kind of civilian things, right? So you can
Yeah.
kind of partake in that stuff when you don't have to do things that require motor skills or responsibility or accountability or anything like that. You know what I mean? If you have to drive yourself places, if you have to do things humanoid civilians have to do. You can't do that stuff. So he has the luxury of having like ample, time to what, even trying to get. He doesn't even deal with commercial airlines, right? You have a private jet, so how much of that consumption is because you're on a private jet, right? I mean, like
Mhm.
do you insist on private? Not because it's not because the substances can fly free. You don't have to go through customs. You don't have to go through security. Is that 50% of what is that maybe the reason you want to fly private all the time when you can't afford it?
Yeah. Oh, we got a Venmo. I want to thank John. There's a last name here. I won't read it out loud. Thank you so much.
Who's it? Missy Walker says he has a separate production company in the EU. What are the new? What is it? There's like 4 production company names besides Infinitum Nile. Remember the Scaramanga brother? Scaramanga is a term. He goes back to Miramar, Florida with him. If you watch an episode of 21 Jump Street, you remember the punk rock episode, Pastel Houses?
Yes, of
You were on
course.
that. Jason Priestley's debut.
Sensible
Uh,
punk.
yes. He throws the word Scaramanga a lot out in that, and don't think that's a coincidence where that comes from. He loves the word. That's the name of his turtle, I believe, when he was a kid. Scaramanga the turtle, I believe, was the turtle, if I remember right. Joni says it's Class A felony, but only if you get caught. Medical grade is the best type. That's interesting. So he's going after medical grade. What is there such a thing as cocaine? Medical grade cocaine? Is that a
I
thing?
I
I'm so
couldn't tell
ignorant
you.
to
I
the
don't
drug
know.
culture. I'm so ignorant to the drug culture. Anyone in the chat? Anyone take cocaine right now? Seriously, does anyone know where to get it? Like, does anyone? When's the last time someone has taken blow in the chat? Has anyone even like in the last 10 years, last 5 years? Do you know where to buy? I don't even know how to buy marijuana. Seriously, I don't.
I don't
I say that
either.
all the
So
time in here.
I'm a dork. I've been called a dork by
I just
family
don't
members. I have
care.
no interest.
Yeah, I just don't
Same.
care. I don't want to get involved. It's like it looks like I don't want to deal with the sneaking around. I don't want to. I don't. I got enough problems mentally. I don't need that compounding it, Melissa. Right?
Yeah, I would be afraid with you. Like it a switch flips.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
I would limit your chemicals.
Joni says I've only had special brownies 10 years ago. Compounding pharmaceutical has it. says Melissa Walker. Is that some? Is that some? I wonder if with the online, the dark web, it's become more rampant. No, I stopped doing blow last year, says Noah de facto, because
There
of
you go.
fentanyl. Oh, that has fentanyl in it? That now you tell me that's
They
fentanyl, right?
slip fentanyl as much as I know, but they slip fentanyl in everything now. So maybe that's why he was afraid that it would be in the cocaine. I don't blame him.
What's the deal with fentanyl, Sarah? That's the new
That's the new. If you watch, you know those videos of like Kensington in Philadelphia.
uh-huh.
You see when they're bent over like that and they're high,
Right.
but they're bent over kind of in a coma. That's fentanyl, from what I know.
Missy Walker's Depp's pharmaceutical rep, if you know what I mean. She's made many visits to the Eastern Columbia building and Sweetser. She knows her stuff. The government is adding fentanyl in the blow.
You never. I don't trust this government at all. Sorry, YouTube.
Fentanyl is an opiate based on 30 times the strength, worse than oxy. And
Ugh.
I've heard that, I don't know if you that said that or I read this, that it's a major catalyst for the homeless epidemic in the Pacific Northwest. Like these
Yes, absolutely.
camps, that's the fuel of it all, where it just makes
Absolutely.
you wander and wander and not
Mhm.
care, and it puts you in
I think
this.
it's everywhere, though. It's not just the Northwest.
Melvin goes, Depp can sleep till 3 p.m., take a shower, sauna, put on 8 rings, 7 necklaces, and 2 scarves, and then begin all over again. Yes. Well said, Melvin. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, he was. No, I didn't mean debut. I meant his Jump Street debut, Frank. Although Priestley claims they plucked him right out of high school to do Jump Street. So something tells me, I mean, it's certainly one of the first things he did. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he dated Holly Robinson. Jason Priestley did. And he was like, did he live with their parents? Is that the
I
story
don't know
goes?
if he I don't remember.
You remember she said they took him when he moved to L.A.? Holly Robinson has a very, very like her dad. It wasn't just Gordon on Sesame Street. He like worked on the Cosby Show. He was like a producer and a writer. She lived a very, what's the term, Black African princess kind of lifestyle, in Hollywood High and stuff. She's not from poor humble beginnings. She's like from a rich family and stuff. Her
Yeah, of
mom was an
course.
agent. Missy Walker says, I do my own product. I've had some blow in the last 10 years. What I had was good. It just doesn't last very long. It's kind of a waste. God, I'm so ignorant. Remember Sister Kate, Sarah?
Yeah.
That was with Stephanie Beacham.
I watched it when it was on.
Did you know who Priestley was on that show?
No.
Okay, yeah, he was on that show.
I just remember a mullet.
I remember seeing that's the guy from Jump Street. It was on, and you watched everything back then. Even though you had cable, you still watched everything. And I remember going, that's the guy from Jump Street. Sarah, Johnny Bye-Bye says, take a handful of caffeine pills.
That's as hardcore as I go.
It's as hardcore as it gets.
2 caffeine pills.
Blow, Joni says, blow messes up your brain, your synapses misfire, and that's where the anger comes from. What if it's like if the anger is already there, it just gets augmented by whatever the substance is. Fentanyl kills, says Missy Walker. People are always adding to the streets of Seattle with fentanyl. Yeah, Seattle's right, the capital, right, Sarah?
ODing.
Oh, I read it wrong?
Yes. People
What
are
did I
always
say?
adding on the streets. They got their calculators out and they're adding on the streets of
you know how bad
Seattle.
my eyes are. I
I know.
thought it was an A. Yeah, you're sorry, Autobot. They're ODing on the streets of Seattle with fentanyl. Is that what Spoon Man was?
No, Spoon Man was like 30 years ago.
No, but do you think he was actually on something like that, and that's what Chris Cornell?
No, it was just a homeless guy who played the spoons. He wrote a song about him.
Weed is legal, says Autobot in New Certainly I know a lot of potheads, Autobot, and how there's not more of a crackdown on marijuana driving than I think marijuana driving is far worse than drunk driving.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen someone in the throes of how slow the reaction is? And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's way worse than alcohol. How come there's no movement on marijuana driving? How come that's not a bigger thing?
There is in Oregon, but because I have to deal with that a lot. But
Oh, tell us about it. How does that? Do you tell us about that?
you could still be cited for driving under the influence.
Is it a stiffer penalty, or is it the same, or is it
It's about the
worse?
same, probably. I don't know. I don't know about court fines or anything like that, but it's probably right on par with a regular Dewey.
What do you see more of?
Now probably still alcohol.
Oh my god. Okay. But it's becoming like, yeah, it's just like,
I think most people that smoke marijuana, and trust me, I'm no expert. I've never done it. They probably just want to like stay home.
You ever drive around and you smell marijuana coming from
Of
other
course, it's
cars when you're in
everywhere.
traffic? How is
Yeah.
that not a bigger? It's crazy. I smell it all the time. I don't know how it's not a bigger thing. Really. Even like secondhand smoke, even like contact high.
Mm-hmm. I will sit here on a nice spring day in my home that I'm about to leave. I'm so depressed about that. But anyway, with the sliding door open, a nice breeze blowing in, and then suddenly it smells like a skunk just sprayed all over my patio door. And it's marijuana.
Johnny Bob goes, you think Sean Bett carries around, and was that Narcan? What does that mean? Narcan?
Narcan. Yes,
Just in
it's
case
like
that's what it is.
oh Jesus, it's something that you give them to ingest. Somebody who's overdosing.
Depp's security was very, very much a part of his former security. He had a lawsuit with him because they were transporting drugs for him. They were, and it became like they're moving his kids around when they shouldn't have, and they're doing things. I had a video I showed where they were moving Lily Rose and Jack through the airport, and these are the same guys, and they had a lawsuit with him that they were constantly, their primary job became dealing with drug transportation and
Mm-hmm.
keeping him off instead of security, and they're putting them at major risk. Like if those guys get caught, they're the ones going to jail. So they're like, enough of this. And I'm sure they did. It's really crazy. Like I said, if I was the drug enforcement agency, I would just sit outside Sweetser and wait for any car to leave and just follow it right to Pablo Escobar. That's what I would do. Because they're half the trips to that. Where are they getting it from? I just don't get it. I just don't understand the whole world, how it works. It's so. How is the deal? How is the transaction going down? Like, is it hand to hand? Like, where's Tom Hansen on this case, right? Does he come up to you and hand it to you, and does he come to the door in a briefcase like this fucking narco crap? How is the transaction? I want to watch it happen. I want to watch how the hand to hand buy, as they say on 21 Jump Street, happens.
I wouldn't know, and I'm happy I wouldn't know. I got enough shit to worry about. I got to pay this exorbitant electric bill every month. I can't worry about where to buy marijuana or how the deals go down.
The security guys say he was also unshowered, says Jim. Yeah, I remember that. That's one of those. He had like not just the City of Lies set with Rocky Brooks. There was like, that's a lawsuit that just got so swallowed up by the Fairfax trial with the security.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come up. I think they stepped on it in the Fairfax trial. They tried to bring it up, and then Vasquez objected 6,000 times, and it eventually just got swallowed.
She did her job.
Yeah. I don't care. I want the information.
Well,
I want the information. The trial is one of the worst things to happen to all of us. The City of Lies lawsuit was totally bogus.
Yes.
No, I think
one of the
it's
most bogus lawsuits, because we read the transcript of the depositions, and 3-parter, by the way, go check it out. But I have never seen, well, I'm sure I have, but a more bullshit lawsuit.
Yeah,
more obvious attempt to get money.
Missy Walker is right. He bought his way out of Brooks, meaning
I would have too.
The thing just what he obviously settled in some quiet capacity, and they never spoke about it. It was the weirdest thing when it's just, and I hope he did what they said he did. Like, I would have done the same thing. Apparently this guy was just ridiculously insulting some homeless black woman. If that's true that he defended her, good on Depp. That's the best quality you can have. Awesome. I'm glad he did it. I'll do it.
Can you see Depp just walking up to somebody just like, into the ribs? Come on.
No, I can't. I know. I want to reenact that would be the greatest thing in the world.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Missy Walker's right. He actually admitted to hitting her in that Rolling Stone. Remember the God, the Stephen Roderick piece we're obsessed with? He admitted to hitting Brooks in that article.
Oh, all right.
I mean,
I still want to see video of it though.
But you're so right. The scenario of him just walking up to someone
Like
and
this
punching
Clint
him in the
Eastwood
stomach.
any which way but loose shot to the ribs.
I'll give you $100,000 if you punch me in the face. Is the one of the quotes from that?
Yeah.
All right, last thing on Shane McGowan here. Victoria. This is Depp. Apparently, I don't know. Johnny Depp in Wedding. 2000. Victoria and Shane. Let's see. I forget what this is.
Shane and his wife.
Is that Malcolm Connolly on our left? Right? Yeah, I believe it is.
Yes.
Okay.
No. I don't know.
It
I'm
is.
getting him. It's been a while.
I mean, we have Irish Shane. Of course, you're going to have Irish Malcolm Connolly right on board for the security. Right? Does it get any more appropriate than that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to smell that trench coat. Is he wearing like a police badge around his neck?
Finally made us. We watched our friends roll up together. And we saw them as they fell. Oh, some of them fell into heaven.
Whose wedding is this, Melissa?
I'm having like a romantic moment.
Okay.
And you're interrupting. Depp, no, hold on.
Give it a hand, come on. Are you a shower? Not a shower.
So Victoria and Shane, what did they get remarried in 2018? And he's 61 or something, 60 years old. What were they? They're just getting married, or is this like a remarry thing? I can't keep up I don't know his marital background. No, they were not married before. They're married for the first time.
Oh my God.
They're married for the
I
first
was
time.
swooning and Depp removed his hat. That's why I was having a romantic moment.
Everyone, she went la 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 la
Was Depp late to the wedding?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Where are the black people?
Oh.
Where are the black people?
It's Copenhagen.
I know. I don't. So I get. How long has he known Victoria? Were they just like Depp and Vanessa, where they were just like mates and didn't get married? Like, why get married at 60? What happened that was he with her for? They just said it took him 30 years. Okay. Depp is going for the whole Who Framed Roger Rabbit look, says Johnny Bye Bye.
Oh, that sends me into like a fantasy.
Shane and Victoria exchange their vows on Ellen. Brendan, that's great. That's great. I prefer Vern Fleming, Jamal Tinsley, and I'll settle for Rory Sparrow. Josh, that's a great point. That's a great. Why wasn't Vern Fleming at that wedding, Sarah? We need more pacer point guards at that wedding.
I don't know. Well, first of all, if I'm marrying my beloved and Johnny Depp walks in late, I don't have a problem with it. I may call my man at the altar the wrong name after Depp walks in, but whatever.
2000, we talked about, Stephen Roderick before that article, and Missy Walker says it's been scrubbed. A lot of the Rocky, she's right. I looked for some Rocky Brook stuff. I mean, I have my own stuff saved, but she's right. Like a bulk of that, it's really hard to find anything about closure on that City of Lies lawsuit. They really tried to scrub that from existence. 2018 is a horrible year for Depp. It's maybe the worst. I don't know. Would you say like after the UK trial, or this is the worst year of his life?
I'm going to say, I would say 17, 18. Absolutely.
How about Aquaman comes out and then outgrosses any Depp movie that's ever been made?
Yeah. And people are saying, oh, what a strong, fierce woman she is. Yeah. Okay.
I don't think Amber Heard ever had public support, in any, but it was more so that it was more so that she was always reviled, but at that point she didn't know it. Her awareness.
I think she had full support until that audio came out.
Public sentiment was always in his favor, but it was just less so then. If you look through it, the Deptford wives hated her from the day he basically home wrecked his own marriage with Vanessa. She reared. I'm trying to remember when they first. I want to say.
I did find an old message board from the early 2010s where she is reviled.
Yeah,
and there really
I
was.
remember
Yeah,
that.
you're right. You're right about that. I mean, and people are going to say you're wrong, but she was hated from the very beginning.
I remember the Johnny Depp Zone.org, and that's like one of his old message boards. They were
that's
all
what I'm
over it.
thinking
Those are
of.
real fans. Those are the real fans who have been there from some of them, not as far as back as I go, maybe, but those are the Scissorhands and Crybaby. They've been talking about him when no one else is talking about him, and they were all over it. Not that he didn't home wreck himself. Like this is a guy in a midlife crisis pussy fog. Make no mistake, never lose sight of the fact that he cheated on Vanessa with her, and he pursued her in a casting couch scenario. Also, when you see it starting to feel sorry for this guy, like he's some victim, he fucking made his bet.
He's a victim, but he picked the wrong person, which we all do at some point in our life. It still doesn't mean you deserve to be put through what he was put through.
How do you not have? I mean, Bruce Witkin, in his testimony, was saying, like, we read him the riot act. He's like, she's too young. What the hell do you have in common? This is ridiculous. And he just didn't. This is a guy in a pussy fog. So he was warned by his inner circle at the same time, and then blew it off. And now we're supposed to feel sorry for him. I'm not feeling sorry for him at all.
Well, she's also in his ear at the time saying they don't care about you. They're jealous, etc., etc. They don't understand our love, etc., etc.
Yes. But you should have at some point a hyper radar.
Yeah, but we know that he is a insane romantic. And when you come in under the guise of sharing every interest he does, he finally has the woman who knows this author or this obscure blues artist, you're going to fall head over. You're going to do backflips to stay with that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Despite the naysayers.
Let's a little more of this.
Everyone comes a little bit closer, guys. The total ones on the back.
I'm not that tall.
Did you just realize he was there?
You two go there.
Who said, I guess the electric slide is out? Who said that?
All right, everyone, if we can look first at this camera, so we have everyone look here.
Just give them 1 minute.
All right. Perfect. Everyone looks here, guys. And maybe the bride and groom has a kiss. Could we have hands up in the air for the bride and groom, guys? Can we have hands up in the air for the bride and groom, guys? Fantastic.
Okay, excellent.
Depp had a goaltending on that. He hit it on the way down. That's
When I threw my bouquet, it hit the ceiling and it fell straight down onto the floor.
I want to apologize to the chat if you're asking me something and I don't see it. It's been a while and I'm kind of multitasking. Ask me again later on. I'm sure I'll see it.
It's because you keep the same chat up for 25 minutes.
I know.
Oh, somebody did that.
Yes. Yes. Where's our official? Yeah, more official. Do you want to? Okay.
Is this how Professor X got married, Sarah, from the X-Men with Lilandra? Was that his wife? Got X-Men? Is that Autobots area of expertise? Who was Professor X's wife? Was it Lilandra or something?
Like you nerds, I don't know.
In here.
It's interesting watching Malcolm Connolly. That day, she's Scottish, right? I always call him Irish. I think we all do that, right? We confuse Scottish for Irish all the time, and they get really offended. Now it's watch Malcolm Connolly. He's doing like he's trying to play security, so he's got watch him like do like he's doing like a hyper vigilant look around. You watch this.
Oh, the sweep.
Yeah, watch the sweep. He turns, looks straight, left, around. Opening, goes in front. Very Michael Chiklis looking. Malcolm Connolly's physique. What is he? 5'8". He's just probably this like little, puckish, again, little pit bull, but he's like 5'8". Would you be intimidated looking at him? I wouldn't. Not that he can't handle himself.
I probably would. I'm enjoying the Johnny Depp Public Enemies look, though. I'm sorry.
That is a Public Enemy. Yeah, that has got some Public Enemy.
My wife. Here, look. We just got married.
That's me next to him.
I thought I had everything kisses Kylie's hand the other night.
He just leaves the place. There's a fucking omnipresent, ubiquitous, as we say, brown cigarette waiting to come out. He hasn't even hit the goddamn first step, and it's a brown cigarette already lit.
You think that's the first brown cigarette?
No, I don't think it's the first brown cigarette. Like, you should. The fact that he still smokes cigarettes is ridiculous. And that's been ridiculous for a decade.
Now we want roller coasters.
Don't tell me she's lighting up. Please don't tell me this 90-year-old.
Of course. Yes. Oh, no. It sounded like somebody asked for a cigarette.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Now this is in the throes of thinking you lost $650 million. There better not be money coming out of that wallet right now. This is a really bad. Now it's no wonder he flees to Europe with his. This is Copenhagen. Like he couldn't get out of the United States fast enough in this. The Rolling Stone piece with Roderick was done in England, and so I'm sure he stayed away from the United States for a full year at this point.
Well, I gotta admit, I would ask him for a cigarette just to have one of his rolled cigarettes.
You'd fake smoke to get near him. I'm sure that's happened before. That's
No,
funny.
but just to like keep that rolled cigarette for the rest of my days. I'd put it in a case.
That's a good
I know you don't like him, but you know Anthony Cumia has that cigarette holder on his desk
No, I
in
don't
front of
know
his
what that is.
microphone. Well,
No.
you should. Any shot of him, you'll see it. But I would have one of those with a cigarette just resting in it, in a case.
These guys are relatives. We travel
He loves that relative line.
everywhere
You
together.
travel, do they just, yeah.
Oh, right.
Is that nice? Can you give them
Well,
jokes? Like,
I'm documenting my death. I mean, my life and my death.
I think you should teach them to play chess. And then you can at least
guys
have
play
a
chess?
good game.
Yes.
You see? No, the Norwegian young boys is the world champion. Bill
no.
Magnus Carlsen. He's won.
Would you rather watch Depp play chess or play guitar?
Is he naked?
Yeah, he's naked.
Guitar.
I'm going with chess. I've gone on record here, and boy, the media's been all over me for it. I would rather watch him play. Kathy Scott agreed with me on this too. I'd rather watch him play golf with Alice Cooper than guitar, and I will go on record to say I would rather watch him play chess than play guitar. At that point,
I just think it's really cool he's hanging out with George Washington.
better than UL. If it was UL Washington, we'd have a toothpick, right? Josh Foster.
Wonderful, yeah. And young people now play,
Yeah.
and they play quick.
It's pretty amazing.
It's a great game to roll smoke over as well.
So it's just an excuse to smoke more chess.
We're done now, We're done now. Okay. But,
They act like cigarettes warm you up, do they?
It does. They do. Smokers do act like they did. Does anyone smoke cigarettes? Do they warm you up?
I'm still freezing my balls off outside, smoking a cigarette. I'm not warm.
I want to thank everyone for their candor about cocaine use or lack
Cocaina.
thereof. What's that?
Cocaine.
Cocaina in the chat.
That would be a good drop. We need that Robin drop.
It is a good drop. You're absolutely right. Malcolm, sure. I bet I'm just going through.
And I would assume that we're going to talk about cocaina in the future on this podcast. So I might add that, but you'll never play it.
Spoon Man is about heroin, says Autobot.
Well,
Sarah.
spoons, heroin usage does deal with spoons, but I think Chris Cornell knew of a homeless man who played spoons.
Okay.
In Seattle, and apparently that's what he wrote it about. I don't know. Not one of my favorite songs.
And they would see this guy every day.
I don't know if every day, but
thank you, Josh
them.
Foster. Sarah, you got to thank Josh Foster.
Oh yeah, Josh. God bless. Love you, Josh Foster, as always. Thank you. And you need to. He requested something from you.
Yeah, let me clear my throat. An eagle cries as he circles his prey. Can we get a little sauvage?
Elixir.
Twister. Yes, the Spoon Man was street performer in Seattle.
Say in the wilderness.
In the wilderness.
No, you got it. In the wilderness.
In the wilderness, an eagle cries and he circles his prey. Can we get a little sauvage?
Elixir.
They've been showing those commercials.
Oh God.
Seemingly on.
I love it.
I'm trying to remember if it's on national TV or if it's the streaming that I'm seeing it. They've been running, and that's how you know someone's not canceled. These commercials have been running now for 7 years straight without in some kind of way. They have been running and never relenting, never taking them out. At the height of his cancellation, the quote unquote, and I say that with the stupid air quotes up. I'm walking through New York and there was a Depp billboard with Sauvage right in the midtown Manhattan. That's the opposite of canceled. right?
Well, I see it a lot on Peacock as I'm watching Potomac Housewives, and I don't care why it's on there, if he's canceled or not. I love it. He's hot.
Was
Ugh,
Peacock where that Rihanna thing was? What was it? Was it
I don't know.
Fenty or Everything's Fendi or Fenty or fentanyl or
I think it was Fenty or something.
Yeah, that was the most that was the laziest. Most
All I know
embarrassing
about
thing.
that commercial or whatever it was is that robe would have slid off his body so quickly and puddled at his feet, and I would have enjoyed every second of it.
Johnny Meyer says, "Smoke is hot. Yes, it warms the lungs."
Yeah, it certainly does.
Okay, I know. No new stars in the last year. Anything else with Shane? Apparently, there's no his influence. People worship this guy, and I guess he quote unquote never really sold out. This is another piece here.
Johnny Depp, welcome to Carlo Vivari. You're about to present Crock of Gold, a few rounds with Shane McGowan, which is...
Look who's in the background, Sarah.
Yep.
Hovering his flank on his
Two of
right
them.
shoulder, our left.
Two
Yep.
of them.
Malcolm Connolly pretending he's not listening.
The woman with the headpiece over Depp's shoulder is the wife.
a great documentary about your buddy. You produced it, you're also in it, of course. What's the nature of your friendship with Shane, and what for you makes him a great artist?
When I first read Shane's words in lyric form, of course, I recognized that there was someone of great value with regards to.
He's doing a lot of. He's doing the trembling, the new stuttering John.
No, oh God, do not put them in the same universe.
He's doing a lot of affected trembling, stuttering now, and I don't know if it's chemically induced or it's affected. He's doing it intentionally.
What year is this?
This is the Karlovy film. This fucking film festivals. I want to say 2021.
Okay, so he's still from this point on, we just need to accept it that he is going to guard his words.
Yeah. Every word is a Fabergé egg, a precious Fabergé egg.
Can you blame him after that, though? After what the drama of the last 7 years, I don't blame him.
No, but I know people like this, and I certainly can do where you're up in your head and you can't get a word, you can't get a sentence out because you're over analyzing every phrase.
Word is picked apart and used as fodder for a hashtag now for him.
And he does the Hunter-esque walk-in pauses between each word. Could you imagine? I mean, him on the trial too. Like the amount. If someone's speaking at a cadence 4 times the speed, could you imagine the information he would have got out if he spoke faster during that? What we would have gotten. And they claim that his job. We've heard rumors that he's running the clock out. You know, like he's.
And he did a great job. Offense. Did you see the very end? They were scrambling, like their heads were cut off, and they were still on a mission. He did his job.
If you say you're doing that, that's an admission that you're afraid of information.
No,
that is a tacit admission that you're afraid of more information coming out because you're running out the clock.
You're right.
I am right.
I'll never. No, you're not.
Don't we want more information? Aren't we in it for the information? Are we in it for the information and the intel? The results of that trial are meaningless to everybody. Public sentiment is all that matters.
You're impossible. You were impossible.
Meaningless. Absolutely meaningless.
He's an invincibly born poet, and he would never be able to shake that. That would never go away. So that was apparent to me from just reading through his words. When I met him, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I didn't know if he would be sort of welcoming, or if he was gonna, take a swat at me. But it was worth it either way. Luckily, he didn't swat at me, but I think the nature of our friendship relationship is that I respect him. I respect him. I admire him. I love him. Obviously, I worship him wholly and completely. I don't. There's nothing but kindness and wisdom in his mind and in his heart. So, to be able to do to take part in a documentary on someone as unique and special a human being as him is a major win. I feel very happy just to have had the film done. And then Victoria, of course,
Mrs. Shane McGowan.
Mrs. McGowan.
Thank you for saying all that.
No, it's true, man. It's true.
She seems to be
Thank
a
you very much
sweet
for doing
woman.
this, and have a great time here.
Same way about Johnny. Shane loves Johnny so much. He absolutely, like a brother. He claims him as a brother. He really does.
It's the sweetest.
He absolutely does.
Thank you both, and enjoy your stay here. Thanks a lot.
I think it would, at this point, it would be more informative. Who doesn't love him as a brother that's in his orbit? Who has he met in the rock and roll community that he doesn't love as a brother? What do you think the conversations go? And maybe someday we'll get a privy to this. When he gets Tracy Jacobs or anybody in his PR team, maybe his sister, maybe anybody in Infinitum Nihil, does he bring in Tracy Jacobs and says, I need to be friends with Shane McGowan, please set that up? You know how he was accused that PR people and managers hook up their celebrity clients. We're supposed to act like it's an organic relationship that got made. They
Do
just
you
met
really
each
think
other.
Tracy Jacobs would know who Shane McGowan is?
She's in a powerful agency that she could just make one phone call and say, hey, get me Shane McGowan. Johnny wants to meet him. Johnny wants to be friends with him. How does that work? When you're that famous and you have that kind of access, you just snap your fingers and anyone can make you friends with anyone you want. Right? I mean, there's no rock star that he hasn't sided up to at this point. There's no, if anybody he has, and the Viper Room was like the beginning stages, right? When you have the Viper Room, right, that you've now created this really hip forum where these people can come to and you can be friends with them and you could start like, there's nobody that he can't be. There's not a single rock. I want to know if there's one rock star that has shunned his advances to, I think it was David that said you're collecting rock stars like baseball cards to be friends with. Right? Has there been a rock star that has shunned his advances?
Let's not pretend that if you were on his level, let's say in the sports industry or just on his level in general, you wouldn't collect NBA stars from the 80s and 90s to be friends with. You would totally do that if you could.
All right. Well, if I did, right, so then I would be allowed to start a traveling 5-on-5 basketball team with my idols.
You could do whatever you want.
And then charge money for it. And then I
whatever
get
you
to
want.
act like, well, I didn't make it to the NBA on my
If
own.
people want to come see you and are cheering and screaming for you and throwing their panties up on the stage or on the court for you, why feel guilty? Do what you want to do.
Because it was him, and I don't know how many interviews I read where he said I would never cash in on my fame as an actor and go to music and do what he's doing now. I mean, like, I cannot tell you how many interviews I read in the early 90s where you're ever going to go back to music. I would never cash in on my fame as an actor and play in a band and then have people show up to see me as
Well, let's be fair. He's doing a favor for Alice Cooper. He's bringing people in to see Alice Cooper. Who would I care to go see Alice Cooper sing School's Out again or Feed My Frankenstein? No, but I would go see Johnny Depp play guitar while Alice Cooper croaked out a tune.
Josh says he's always performing his ass off in these interviews. He's grooving off the script, says J.I. Young. Someone asks. I would love to know, you bring up a really good point, and we bring up this often with the Hollywood vampires, where let's say there's 15,000 people watching a show, and you had to identify the reason you're there. What percentage are there to see Depp? What percentage are there to see Joe Perry? What percentage are there to see Alice Cooper? What would you say if you had to ballpark it? What would you say?
75-25.
They're 25. He's 75.
Yes.
Okay. I'll go with
Listen
that.
to those screams. You don't hear any male voices.
No. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of 24-year-olds that are Alice Cooper fans.
No. And by the way, I see Kathy Scott in the chat. Kathy, do you agree with me? All I could think about while they're focused on his stuttering and stammering, I'm thinking about how I want to eat that necklace off his neck.
I thought you're supposed to be a thinking broad. I thought you're supposed to be a thinking man's broad.
But I am a broad, and we have hormones, and you see something nice, you're gonna have a reaction.
Okay, Victoria's background, says Joni. She was an ex-music journalist who was his partner for 30 years and wife for 5. Imagine 30 years in, you go, let's get married.
Why? I think it's romantic. It's sweet.
Yeah. Tough talk with 6 bodyguards around, says G Canada. Take a swat at me. They're all relatives. That'd be great if the woman's like, no, that's your security team, right? What do you pay for them? She just goes, no, that's your security, right? Why is there 4 of them hovering around at all times? I saw Shane with 2 pogues at Rosalind. Hardly recall John O'Reilly. Welcome, sir. I saw Shane with the pogues 2 times at the Rosalind. Hardly recall either event. Is it because it's not memorable, or you were just wasted? You don't remember it, right? It could be either one. Maybe he just doesn't. Maybe it just didn't resonate with him. Is that possible?
Well, the Pogues for me, and I will never lie and say I'm a massive fan just because Johnny Depp and him are friends. I would zone out. It's not my thing.
You think it all sounds the same to you? Like each Irish tune sounds the same to you?
Well, that music that was playing at the wedding there, I think that's a Pogue song. See, I know very little, but I don't mind that. I don't know what it's called or what the lyrics are, but I would eventually just go into like a conscious coma where I'm just staring at something on the stage and hoping it's over quickly, like I was during Mars Volta. Sorry, I know that's controversial to say.
What was that? I didn't catch that last one.
I went and saw Mars Volta.
I don't know what that is.
It's a band.
Mars Volta? What the fuck? I have no idea.
Mars Volta.
I've never heard of it.
They were opening for A Perfect Circle, which was my second favorite band of all time. And I zoned. I was so bored. And they are considered to be one of the greatest rock bands ever.
What genre? Like who would they be?
Jesus.
Like
the chat will tell you. I don't have time.
I don't know. How'd you get turned on to them? Like what is that? Volta?
I wasn't turned on to them. I had to sit through them to get to my band.
Okay. What year is this?
Oh God. Early 2000s.
All right. I rolled this Depp interview, says Josh. She really is pouring on the BS here. Jody's Flamer, Joni and Kathy Scott says he feels like he's aged 20 years since AH came into his life.
You have to. That has to age you mentally and physically.
It's not the drugs; it's her that aged him. Right? It's not MDMA and coke and heroin and God knows what, and it's her that aged him. That's her fault. He's aged. Are those people who stole hundreds of $1 million? No doubt heard age and stressed him out big time, plus the trial. Have you seen his throat lately?
He's 60 years old.
Yeah, I know, but you don't think of him as... And
Your throat's going to look the same.
Not if I don't smoke 40 packs of brown cigarettes a day, it's not.
It's age. The neck falls. It's natural.
Brother, the Irish and the N-word, that's love. Flamer love, have you seen me before? Okay. I think that's all I'm going to do. Interview wise, hold on, let me get rid of this. I got too many Depp dog pound.
I'm not shocked.
Joni.
And I've managed to unmute myself. Welcome everybody. Sara, it's absolutely lovely to be on the show with you for the first time.
Joni,
no, we were on together the last time, I think.
For a very for a very short time. I didn't get a chance to say I love the intros and the work you do.
Thank you. I need to update it. It's been a bit.
Joni, I want to ask you, and I just want you for this specific segment because I feel like a poser because I don't know Shane McGowan's life and world and pathos and mythos well enough. I only know him via Depp, and I know him via very hip music fans. I know referencing him all the time. What does he mean? Where would you rank him in Irish rock lore?
Oh, okay, so the Pogues broke in the 70s, and so Thin Lizzy would have already been on the scene, and U2 would have just moved to England as well. So you couldn't get record deals in Ireland; you had to move to London. So Shane McGowan is part of the London Irish community. So his father was some kind of civil servant, I think. No, he was working in some kind of big retail company and moved over there, and then he moved the family over. But where they're from in Tipperary is quite close from where the Gallaghers, Noel and Liam Gallagher from Oasis, come from originally, where the Gallagher's family come from originally. And ironically, Kylie Minogue's family originally came from there, but 2 or 3 generations ago. So so what you have in the 70s is you have a generation of Irish people who don't feel English, but are trying to bring their culture from their home life with them. And so most of you guys in the chat will probably know Thin Lizzy and Whiskey in the Jar, which is a very traditional song. You know the
I didn't know they were Irish. I know them here a little bit. It's like a classic rock band.
Yeah,
I know.
Thin Lizzy, Phil Lynott, is half Brazilian, African Brazilian, and half Irish, and his mother had him out of wedlock, and she sent him home because she was under pressure to give him up and put him up for adoption because he was mixed race. But her family insisted that she sent the baby home, and then he became the head of a fusion Irish traditional music Irish rock band, and they didn't want to put out Whiskey in the Jar initially because they considered it a bit twee, but there was bands at home like Planksty and a couple of others that were reviving Irish traditional music. And so bringing it back to Shane McGowan and the Pogues are then using the punk aspect to infuse their Irish traditional music. Now, I didn't realise this until very recently that Shane spent all his summers at home in Ireland with his grandparents and his aunts and his uncles. So he's far more Irish than a lot of the London Irish who basically didn't go to their grandparents at all very often. It didn't always happen like that. So he was embedded in the culture. He did go to private school and he got kicked out. And so he made TV before he was ever in the Pogues. He got, I think he was at a Clash concert, and he was on TV, and national TV on the BBC, for being like, you know, a guy on the scene. And then for people who don't know Irish, the original name of the band was Pogue Mahone. So Pogue means kiss, Mo means my, and Hohen, yes, it loosely translates as ass, but it's basically your crotch area front and back, because Irish isn't a very direct language. And yeah, we do rude sayings rather than rude words. And then he does that. So the big pop hit, of course, of Fairy Tale in New York. That's 1988. Christy McCall, who's on that, was also.
Would you say Fairy Tale in New York? That's the biggest hit in America. Would you say?
It's the biggest hit, international. It's the biggest hit in international. That's why you wouldn't know a lot of their other music. And the song played at the wedding was Rainy Night in Soho, which is the song that Bono sang at his 60th birthday, backed up by Johnny Depp.
How long did Shane McGowan live in New York?
He never lived in New York.
They imply that he did for some reason. I feel like they imply that
they would have toured there because there's the Irish circuit there. So there was a circuit for in the 70s and 80s. If you were on the showbiz circuit, you toured the working men's clubs.
Right.
But there was Irish working men's clubs in Manchester and Liverpool and London, and you circulated there, and then you did the same thing in New York and Boston and the other Irish enclaves across the water. So, but Fairy Tale in New York, because say in the 70s, my parents were part of a generation that nearly 40 to 50% of them immigrated. And my grandparents' generation, 50% to 60% of them immigrated. They were marrying whoever was left at home, basically. So you're talking about a huge amount of people leaving the country. You're talking about them setting up, but there's 500 years of immigration from Ireland. It's so ingrained in our culture. So most of you have probably heard of the Irish wake, where people have a party when people die.
Yes.
We don't do morose funerals. So what the wake is that traditionally the corpse would be prepared at home. You'd have an open casket and people would pray around it, and then you'd sing songs and reminisce, and even you wouldn't dance, that would be too far, but people would actually stay awake all night until you bring the corpse to the church.
But how did the Pogues and Shane McGowan enter the American zeitgeist without having an actual hit in any way? I mean, not even an alternative hit.
Yeah.
How is it that
because Irish people support each other? Someone made a comment there a while ago.
So Irish Americans have to say that this is our music, and Americans is such a high population of Irish, so much so that the University of Notre Dame is national, like on every week, because they know seemingly half of America is Irish.
There's like whatever. There's 36 million people in America that consider themselves as Irish. There's 6 million. There's less than 6 million people north and south of Ireland on the island.
So why, if all these Irish Americans are into the Pogues and Shane McGowan,
Irish Americans, Canadian Americans, Australian Americans, all over the world.
No. Let me finish, Sean. Why wouldn't they have a hit in America if they all supported his music? Wouldn't they all be buying his
Not
music?
on the main charts. There's the worst folk Irish charts, there's the punk charts, all of that. It was his first mainstream hit, big mainstream international hit. It's like, because you guys break everything down, whereas in Europe, we didn't have all those categories. He would have been played all over the radio, regardless of what radio it was. He only got banned in England for one of his protest songs. Because you're talking about the Guildford 4 and the Birmingham 6 bombings that happened in the mid-70s.
Right.
And I found this out literally today. Jerry Conlon, you know, In the Name of the Father, that movie with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes.
Jerry Conlon had who's Daniel Day-Lewis's base character. Jerry Conlon's first pick was actually Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp had to actually drive past my house to get down to Dingle to see Fungi. He was brought all around Northern Ireland, all around Dublin, and down to Dingle, where they filmed the opening for the new Star Wars, you know, the rock in the middle of the ocean is Skellig Hill, which is off the southwest coast of Ireland. Johnny's really legit, and that meeting was set up by Shane McGowan. So a lot of the London Irish set up meetings with political people that would be a bit taboo to set up in Ireland, but then they bring people over because of the contacts. And that's
what was Depp trying to do here?
He was trying to get a role in that movie. So
this is for A Crock of Gold. He needed to research by getting hooked up with.
No. We're talking 1990.
Okay, what is he trying to do then? The actual year 1990.
Yeah, that's
as in when Edward Scissorhands were made.
Going for So Shane McGowan knew Jerry Conlon, on whom In the Name of the Father movie is based on.
Right, but what is Depp trying to do here? What does he want?
Yeah, no, Jerry Conlon has picked Depp to be him in the movie.
Okay.
But it's not given to Daniel Day-Lewis because of Irish politics and Daniel Day-Lewis being Irish.
Yeah. Who would you rather have seen?
I'd have loved to seen him do something gritty like that earlier on in his career. But I'd have been too young, because I was 8 when that was going on, so that would have been a bit beyond me at the time. What
I don't know that. I don't know that rumor. I never heard that story.
I only heard it. I literally only researched it this morning. I literally came across it by accident.
That's crazy. I've never, and you lived there. I've never heard it.
There's tons of stuff I'm just learning things. So even though a lot of the earlier photographs we have of Shane McGowan and Johnny Depp being together, like as friends, come from mid 1990s, they actually knew each other for a lot longer than that. So because I thought it was a showbiz thing where, you know, famous people get together and have a party and they consider themselves friends.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, this was like a legit actual friendship, and he had his reading done on the background of the Guildford 4 and the Birmingham 6 and all of that. So yeah.
I remember him mentioning them in a very early interview, and I'm this is where I think he had very sophisticated, hip music taste as far as back as I remember, because he was interviewed. It was a 21 Jump Street interview, and they asked him what he was listening to, and I honestly think he brought the Pogues up in this. You know, he brought up, you know,
yeah,
and U2. I thought that was like when U2 was. They were big, but they weren't super duper big. And he brought up, so he had been. I was saying before, I think that his dream life would have been to be the American version of the Pogues and what the kids were supposed to be.
I would, and you see the Pogues sparked the Libertines, which was a really big band, kind of on the kind of indie circuit in the mid-90s. And then, of course, they sparked Fontaine's DC, which is one of the bands that he's listening to while being dolled up for the Barcelona Film Festival in 2020. I think it's, you know, he's sitting in a blue chair and he's having his makeup touched up. And that's an Irish band in the background as well. So it's all kind of a very circular thing. Sorry, I was just looking at the chat there, and someone says they're from Newfoundland, and Newfoundland is the biggest Irish-speaking community in the world, as in Irish language speaking, for whoever was that, because it went past too fast for me. So Shane McGowan read all the great Irish authors, and he was constantly writing essays about them in school, and that's how he got like sent to the fee-paying private secondary school as well. Then it's through him recommending stuff to Depp. I think Depp ended up in Ireland trying to get a book made into a movie, which was called The Ginger Man.
Yeah, I remember that. That had been in, I don't know, like pre-production for what seemed like 15 years. I didn't even know what the premise was. I never knew what the premise was.
It's I keep forgetting the author's name, but it's basically it's a look at Irish urban life in the 50s.
We can all relate, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like Chocolat, but in Ireland, basically, but no romance. The interesting thing about that is, on his way to Ireland to research that, he meets Cillian Murphy, who he's promising a part to in the movie. That movie never gets made, so Cillian Murphy ends up with him in Transcendence, is it?
Yeah, Cillian Murphy is in. That's Christopher Nolan's director of photography. Wally Pfister is the director of that. Christopher Nolan's the executive producer. I don't think he has any creative input on it at all. But Cillian Murphy is basically what Depp is to Tim Burton to Christopher Nolan. He's in every fucking Christopher Nolan movie. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and Cillian Murphy is Irish.
Yes.
Is where he's from Cork, which is the next county over from where I grew up. Famous things that happened in Cork is Sir Walter Raleigh was like given the whole county as a present for bringing potatoes to Ireland by Elizabeth I. But you know, that's Cork for you. So they're the reason why we have potatoes in Ireland.
We actually have a premise coming up, and I don't know when we're going to get to. It was called Depp almost made it, or it almost got made. And The Ginger Man is part of these movies that you read about for years with him that never came to fruition. There was a mafia movie called Nailed Right In that I would read about for years and years, never got made. They'd get to these. And so The Ginger Man is that it would come up constantly, even on his IMDb. I think it was listed, and I don't think it's probably been taken off since, but it was on his IMDb for years. And that's quintessential move fitting into that. Okay, one last thing, Joni, before we move on to Timothy Olyphant. What do you think Shane McGowan and the Pogues? Remember, do you think will it go stronger posthumously as he's passed? Did it get enough? Did he get enough credit, or did he get too much credit? Will he get stronger in death?
Yeah, to understand the Pogues without understanding Irish politics and Anglo-Irish relations during the 70s and 80s. Okay, in Ireland, if there's a cultural happening and you're Irish and you don't turn up, you're kind of shunned. I forgot to go to the Banshee of Inisheer earlier on this year, and everybody was like at work, "You haven't seen it yet," because it's the Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson movie. You have to go to all of that, so they would have gotten a lot of automatic support. And I think it's Frank the Tank is saying they don't sound like anything else he has heard, but the Pogues influence a lot of people after them. So
no, totally. I mean, doesn't Bono constantly point to them, and everybody? I don't want to say everybody knows each other in Ireland, but it seems like
there's only 6 million of us. If you're not related to somebody, you're working with them. So, like, I mean, that's just the way it is here.
It seems like your Irish music community is more supportive than competitive with each other.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm right about that. I could be wrong.
It's a cultural thing. A musician who's trained to play Irish music, whether they picked it up in the pub or whether they go through a family that has hundreds of years of traditional training behind them, the whole point of you have enough of a body of work from the traditional sense learned that you can land in any place all around the world. Somebody has a fiddle, someone has a guitar, someone has a pipe, someone has a tin whistle, and they can all play. And the Pogues are growing. The Pogues are in that thing, fusing the punk, and then they have the Troubles in Northern Ireland going out, and they're writing songs about that. And there's a tradition going back 1,000 years about musicians and poets writing about the current political situation. So they're tapping into all of that. Plus, you have the fact that there's a lot of, like, when I watched the Crock of Gold, they have Gerry Adams in it. Gerry Adams was banned as a political party leader. He couldn't be filmed on the BBC for most of his career because he was banned as a terrorist. So this is the kind of thing you're doing. There's a whole pile of aspects as to why they were so famous.
Yeah.
Plus, he has a very good way with words. Plus, because of the cultural support, because there's people going, you couldn't actually sing a rebel song in Ireland for 100 years.
John O'Reilly says the Pogues concerts were legendary. The Pogues would tour the U.S. around St. Patrick's Day all the time, and that's how the band became known. Wow, was that a thing every year? They would, around St. Patrick's Day, they would tour, like in February and March and stuff?
Yeah, you see, like, there's a whole thing where, not in Ireland, but outside of Ireland, you celebrate your culture, even though St. Patrick's Day was invented in America, so there's a whole other thing about that. But, like, I used to sing in choirs in primary and secondary school and all through university. And, like, we go in, there's a version of the Catholic Mass in Irish, and I can sing that all the way through, and I had to for choir for years.
Go ahead, hum a few bars for us. Let's hear some. Go ahead. You don't have to. Next time. Do it next time.
I had the Parting Glass ready, which is a traditional song for the end if you wanted it. But
do it now. Do it now. Do it now.
Okay, I'll just call up the words here one moment.
If you can. I don't want to put pressure on you. The last thing I want to do. Welcome, T Busy.
Okay. Of all the money I ever had, I spent it in good company. Oh, and all the harm I've ever done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. Fulfill to me for parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all.
Good job, Joni. Beautifully done. I didn't want to put you on the spot.
No, it's fine.
You didn't want to do it. You didn't have to do it. Do not feel any pressure here.
It's better than a Crease and Shield, which is a bit too holy.
Joni, thank you for checking in. I have learned so much in so little time on that. I had no idea about Daniel Day-Lewis in 1990. That's great. Thought I read everything. Somehow that slipped by me. That's crazy.
No problem. I found loads of links, so I sent you on stuff, and I know you've been backlogged because you were sick and everything. So I send stuff on as I find it, man.
It's amazing how he fit that in at that time. That's when it's right at the time when Winona Ryder was filming Godfather 3, and she had to drop out, and he's by her side, and it's that weird time post Edward Scissorhands, and then he has this weird idle time in there, and like Arizona Dream comes out, and there's like this weird 2-year period where he didn't do anything, and that's got to be when that was. That makes a lot of that fits right into that actually.
Yeah, and you see as well with Jerry Conlon and the Shane McGowan connection, they had English TV, so they were getting 21 Jump Street.
I would love to watch 21 Jump Street with Shane McGowan. That would be great.
One last thing before I go, okay?
Yes.
Shane, Sean, and Owen are all versions of John in Irish. So Shane and Johnny have the same name as Sir Sean Bett, his security guard. Huh. And the running joke at home is, if you're not called John or Mary, when I was growing up, if you're not called John or Mary, you have an aunt or an uncle called John or Mary, and that was the running joke. So there you go.
Or Jack is also John here in America, which is bizarre. It's like Dick, and Richard. It's just so stupid.
Yeah, Jacques is Norman French for Jean, which Jean is like Jean-Luc Picard, so he'd be John-Luc.
Next time we have Joni, next time you're on, and hopefully it's soon. I'm thinking of the premise. Would you sing a Pogue song for us?
I don't know if they did the parting glass, but I'd have to. I look up at something.
Just figure it out. Just figure it out and bring it on next time.
Fairy Tale New York, okay?
Yep. Fine. Thank you, Joni. Thank you so much for joining. Yep.
You sent out the bat signal. I heard the word dick.
I did not say this. Oh, Dick and Richard?
Yes.
Oh, God. Sarah, when you take someone out, it says kick from... I don't want to kick from studio.
I know, the wording's harsh, but you're just letting them go.
It is harsh. That's what I want.
Let's change it to gently releasing.
Irish aren't allowed to defend themselves. That country has fallen. Here's a guy I wonder what you think of, and I know you like him because you this weird reaction when I brought him up, even though you've never seen the show. I'm watching. Everyone knows I'm binge watching. Not everybody knows, but G. Canada's already watched the whole thing, and I think Judy Tenuna's watching, and I think Bon Jovial's watching. My new favorite, the show that I'm binge watching right now is a show called Justified. It's been on. I hate the title. It doesn't really. I would rename it that. The only reason they call it Justified is in the pilot, he says, everybody I shoot, it's justified. He says it like one time. So they call the whole goddamn series that. It misleads you into thinking it's about the U.S. Marshals in Kentucky, and Timothy Olyphant plays the lead. And this supporting cast is great. His fellow marshals the episode's always better when they have the team of marshals interacting with each other. And I'm watching this thing, and I said to myself, wouldn't it be grand? Why didn't they cast him as the Lone Ranger? He's so good in this show, and he's sarcastic, and he's likable and charismatic. Wouldn't he be an amazing Lone Ranger? Well, as it turns out, he was supposed to be the Lone Ranger, and he was in freaking Rango, which is directed by Gore Verbinski, who directed Lone Ranger and directed the Pirates movies. Timothy Olyphant does a voice in Rango, and they didn't cast him as Lone. They cast Armie Hammer instead.
Yes.
It is so crazy. So
May I just say, Timothy Olyphant was discovered by me in a movie called A Perfect Getaway. He is a 10 in that movie. Ladies,
like when I brought him up,
please go watch a clip. But go ahead and talk over me. It's fine.
When I brought him up, you went crazy.
Only because he was so hot in A Perfect Getaway.
What is he in, and what is the movie about?
All right. Mila Jovovich and some David actor, they go on vacation, right? They encounter two criminal figures who make their lives hell in Hawaii, I believe. Timothy Olyphant plays a bad guy. He is so hot.
You're just gonna leave it there. You're gonna
Yeah,
say
why
so
don't you
hot.
pull up the
And
trailer?
I'm supposed to tag you saying he's so hot. I'm really supposed to
Yes,
do something
pull
with
up
that.
the trailer on YouTube since you have it there.
I wasn't planning on playing a trail. What's the name of the game?
A Perfect Getaway.
A Perfect Getaway.
Mm-hmm.
I have a montage of him on Justified. Would you
You
rather
play
see
whatever
that
you
or
want to play. You're the man.
no? What I mean, and this is about you today, right?
Can it be for 5 minutes?
Yes, of course. Here it is. Here it is. 2009 this came out.
Oh, I hope there's a good shot of him in this trailer.
Did it come out in the theater?
Nah, the budget was like very low and it barely made the budget. So it was in some theaters.
Can I ask how you saw it? Where did you
I
become?
don't even remember, but I have it on DVD.
Okay. Present. What am I looking for here, Sarah? This is present, stop screen, slides, video file. What am I stopping here?
You
What am I
share
doing?
screen and then you go to the tab.
Let me just remove this for a second.
Okay, if it's not going to work, forget it and move on.
No. I got it right here. Anybody else see this besides Sarah?
Yes, I see it. We all see it.
No, I mean the movie in the theater.
Oh.
There is a place
The most gorgeous dead end God ever made.
You know what? Drop me off right here.
as beautiful as it is remote.
Only two ways, in and out, by foot or by kayak.
There they are.
You see that actor Steve?
Oh.
That actor Steve Zahn.
Just
He's
keep
the
going.
lead. He's the lead in Patrick Hasburg's movie, Gringa.
It doesn't matter.
Which Depp played in, which would be a great Depp movie.
Hey!
How far are you going?
About 10 miles ahead.
Yeah, the big trail. We'll drive you there.
Oh!
Some come for adventure,
Come on, baby, you can do it. Outstanding.
and some have come to play a game.
So you guys don't mind if we tag along? We're all going to the same place. Yeah, are you kidding?
And once the game has started,
So, what were you, SEALs, Rangers? I'm a damn American Jedi. That's some toothpick.
there's no place to hide.
So Sarah, that's Chris Hemsworth pre-Thor.
Yes.
That Thor came out in what, 2011? God, I didn't know who he was.
Now Chris is much better looking in this movie, but the Timothy man is bringing up the rear mightily fine.
He's fantastic in Justified, like fantastic, which
Mhm.
makes me think he would have changed the course of the complexion of Lone Ranger entirely if he was in it, and it would have enhanced everything: box office, everything, charisma, reviews, everything, tone.
Interesting guy, Cliff.
Yeah.
It's good reflexes.
The further we go, the fewer people on the trail.
You know what I heard? People die out here every year.
Lord.
Who knows how?
Lord.
Could be the wages of sin.
What are they looking for?
They found two bodies on the beach. Authorities are searching for a man and a woman.
Oh, what do you think?
Mm. Anyway, you get the gist. You get the gist. If you can get, it's a very good movie if you can get past Mila Jovovich's horrible acting, but that's normal for her.
The one of the broads in that movie is an actress named Kylie Sanchez.
Oh yeah,
And she is in a great. I mean, I hate the title. My friend Brendan saw this. It's called Kingdom. It's a UFC drama that came out on like the fucking DirecTV network or something. It's phenomenal. She's the female lead on that, and it's Crossbones plays the lead in that. Frank Grillo. He runs like a MS.
You're cutting in and out. It might be just me,
Really
but
good.
okay.
I can't even do it justice by saying the premise. It's way better than I thought it was going to. And she's the female lead in that. She's excellent in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually kind of want to see that. I think I might watch that
It's a good movie.
at some point. And you just watched it on like cable or something? It wasn't in the theaters?
Probably, yeah. But I liked it so much. I've seen it a couple times. I liked it so much. I actually, back in the day when they made DVDs, I bought it on DVD.
Frank the Tank goes, there's nothing special. The Pogues, they're just like every other band in Newfoundland. You can't ban a song from. So this is Timothy Olyphant on. I want you to think Lone Ranger, not think Justified. This is him on. It's sort of like a montage. I just put together some typical Lone Ranger type scenes. What's the title of my folder here? Shane McGowan and Depp-browski. This is Timothy Olyphant in Justified as Raylan Givens.
Paul, the apricot. It's where the brainstem meets the spine. Hit a fella there, he ain't gonna pull no trigger. It's just lights out. Sooner we
Seemed like maybe he's just gonna leave.
See this dude here? He's in fucking Kingdom too. He plays one of the sons, and he's great in it. I had no idea he's in this too. This must be season 6, because I haven't gotten to season 6 yet, and I don't know this scene.
Without saying goodbye.
Be careful with this trailer or whatever you're playing.
Just skip around.
good. Hey, if I was you, I'd give up this Nazi bullshit. Go back to poaching gators. Safer.
Next time I see you, I'm gonna go.
Tell Boyd his old buddy wants to see him.
How long has this show been off the air?
It's I believe now G Canada loves this show. 2015 I think was the last season. It's an FX show. FX has a lot of good shows, like from The Shield to The Americans. They have really good shows. It's for basic cable. And they do as much as they can do with basic cable. I think 2015 went 6 seasons, and that's the last season. Like that last scene, that's the Lone Ranger. And he's sarcastic in it, and I think he would bounce better off. I have no idea how they missed it.
He would certainly be more charismatic.
Right? And wouldn't that have helped everything? Like, and so the article is here. I'll make it quick. As it turns out, they were looking at him for it. So I didn't follow like the casting gossip for it. I just knew Depp got it, and I kind of didn't the leading up to it. I always thought Armie Hammer, but Armie Hammer was not the first choice. Timothy Olyphant for the Lone Ranger. Timothy Olyphant, Lone Ranger for Gore Verbinski. We all know Johnny Depp will be playing Tonto when Gore Verbinski shoots his adaptation of the Lone Ranger for Disney. But what we haven't found yet is who will play the popular cowboy riding side by side with Depp's Tonto. Names have been linked to the role are George Clooney and Brad Pitt. Well, now the LA Times is reporting Verbinski, fresh off Rango, mentioned Timothy Olyphant, Justified, and Deadwood, that HBO show. He was in that too, and a candidate to play his version of the Lone Ranger. Oliphant, who voices the Spirit of the West in the animated Western Rango, is right for the role, and it sounds like a good idea. Verbinski tacitly. When pressed if he made up his mind on getting Oliphant on board, Verbinski said, it's an odd couple, the two of them together, I guess, Depp and Oliphant. Getting the tone right is going to be a blast. Verbinski also mentioned he envisions a different perspective for the story than the visual way most of us have ever thought of the Lone Ranger. Mine is Don Quixote's Sancho Panza's point of view, and hence why an honest early with Johnny, that Tonto, he's right for the part. We're not going to do it straight. Everyone knows that story. I don't want to tell that story. I want the version untrustworthy. If you watch The Lone Ranger, and I think you did, Sarah, do you see that they basically tried to do Pirates of the Caribbean in Western style? Tonto is Jack Sparrow.
Okay.
Is Armie Hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Same rhythms. And it might as well be, if you watch Lone Ranger, he really tried to do, let's do pirates, but a Western. And so they tried to make Lone Ranger into, he never got it. Somehow it didn't go to Oliphant, and it goes to the very banal, forgettable, boring, Armie Hammer. And nothing against the guy. He doesn't pop off the screen for me. I was utterly bored by him, forgettable, and I don't know how they missed that. And it was a big, big swing and a miss. If he was available, and they could have done it, because it's a completely different movie. If Oliphant was available.
Well, and since then, all he's been known for is being really into barbecuing, and I don't know of anything else.
What the hell is he gonna do here? So next in line here, I want to show you what Depp is now. The last few days, he's been at the Red Sea Film Festival, and we know he seems to have that relationship with that Saudi Arabian prince that was hanging out with him, and I think it has something to do with this. And these are shots. He's promoting Jane du Barry at this thing with Ma Wen, and this is a scene of these two. And again, maybe we could do this next week. There's just excerpts of this thing is being released, so I don't have the full interview, and I'm sure it's going to come at some point. But this is Depp and Ma Wen on stage,
Still pretending they like each other.
pretending to like each other. Yes, Sarah.
Oh
Right.
God, he looks nice.
Look at you right
I
now.
haven't seen this.
Quite political
Oh.
in many ways.
Do you think it's funny?
I think it's very funny. I think the way.
By the way, I'm sure the chat is aware of this if you watch any TV and anything. You know, there's a Napoleon movie coming out with Joaquin Phoenix.
No, I did not know that.
Right.
Ugh.
Now, the timing of that, don't you think that's going to step on this movie? Who would you rather see? A movie about Napoleon or Jean du Barry? If the general public looking at that, if you're going to choose.
Can I skip both?
Both. You could skip both, yes, but I'm saying the general public, right? The pedestrian mindset knows Napoleon and doesn't know that. So when you see the two of these movies, it's going to look like a similar French period piece, and you're going to be. I don't need them both. I don't want to see either. Like, I'm certainly not going to. I have to say, when I think of Jean du Barry, I was thinking about this today. I've never been excited. I've never been less excited for a movie in his entire IMDb library than right now.
I was.
Less excited?
Yes.
What?
Guess the movie I had zero interest in seeing, but I saw most of it, or some of it.
Waiting for the Barbarian?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it has a similar pacing to that. Honestly, I've never been less excited for a movie in his entire IMDb live than this. I was actually more excited for the Barbarians movie than this. I'm literally, there's not a single thing that moves me. There's not, I don't have nothing to gain. I have nothing to learn. I don't think he has a ton of speaking lines in it, as far as I know. I have the thing. I'll give it to anyone who wants it. I don't know what and him in period pieces. It's the very first thing I would have taken off. Like, if I'm managing his career, all European period pieces out, gone, never again. That's
how much of the movie is he in?
I still am trying to work up the endurance to watch it. So I've heard things as much as 15 minutes. I've heard they've re-edited it and he's in 80% of it. Let's go.
So
with 80%.
I will either spend 15 minutes watching it or 80. Oh God, if it's 80%, I will have to watch his scenes. But I'm that's all I'm watching. Like Once Upon a Time in Mexico, I only watched his scenes.
Yeah, I recommend anyone watching, if you haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Mexico. And I've decided last night too. The other thing, because I'm watching Justified, and there was a little subplot with, I never want to see again in TV or movies the Pablo Escobar-esque narco cartel. I'm tired of all Mexican drug cartel scenes in movies. I don't want to see it ever again. I am utterly, my brain flatlined when these guys, with Sara with the briefcase and the adobe house and the Mexican guitar playing. I don't ever want to see it again. We got it. Mexicans,
the runway strip outside the front door.
Exactly. All of that. We saw it a little bit. Don't ever want to see it portrayed again. I'm sick of it. 100%.
By the way, I watched Chuck a lot in 5 minutes, and I'm good.
Yeah, that's all you can do is watch Depp scenes. No, seriously, just watch his 10, 15 minutes in the movie. And that's all you need. That was back then. They called that Depp charging a movie. That he would just be in it and he would steal the movie and move on, and this was the only reason to watch it. And
was that the movie you went to and you only well, of course you see them only because he's in them, but you were almost crying because he was only in like 5 minutes of it?
There's a lot of those. Yeah, I think Chocolat. I ended up. I would watch it. I would time it where I would walk in and when he came on screen. So when I saw it probably 4 times in the theater.
Oh,
So I would come in, and when I saw it the first time, I was so irritated that he wasn't in it as much as I want. So then the next time I watched it, I timed it. I knew, oh, he's coming on screen in 48 minutes, and I would walk in at the 48-minute. Like I went to see like another movie in the same theater, and I would come in and watch him and knew how to do it. But he steals that movie. It's a
yeah.
good cast though. It's a really
You
good
knew when
cast.
to go out and buy your popcorn.
It's a Harvey Weinstein movie. It's got all the hallmarks
Yeah,
of,
everything was back
Oscar
then.
bait. It's all that fucking Oscar formula he had back then.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Miramax movie. Depp is very good friends with Weinstein. Make no mistake about it. He, from Finding Neverland to this is all just Oscar pandering was what Weinstein does best.
The walking is done the way.
It's a love story. He's dying. What is this so funny?
That's the funny
Did you
part.
see the film? Are you sure?
I'm sure it's funny. Look at you, right?
She seems like she's way uptight and would not be fun.
Very prickly.
Oh,
Very defensive, not insecure, but like she's just very just ready to pounce on you if you one syllable's wrong in the way you're, just she looked like a nightmare to work with. As easygoing as she can be, she looks like a nightmare.
I suspect she is sick and tired of him being the focus of all of these little
Absolutely.
get-togethers.
Absolutely.
Doing acting and directing.
Sorry, go ahead, Sarah. I just put this up.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, she knows that, but again, this movie may not be made if you don't get his name on it. If you don't,
Well,
it's
we
not
wouldn't be
gonna.
watching these little panel discussions. Certainly not.
His name is responsible for, and again, he is proven to not launch movies either. I mean, he's had a lot of bombs, the Lone Ranger being one of them. The Lone Ranger up until until The Flash, the Lone Ranger was the biggest box office bomb in the history of motion pictures in terms of per dollar per budget, what it's supposed to be and the whole thing. When you do the mathematics about the year it came out, and the Lone Ranger was considered the biggest bomb in the history of motion pictures until The Flash came along this year, whatever. And this is Malwin. This is the same. I want to get the full press conference interview, and they're just releasing drips and drabs of it, and I want to get the full thing together. And I just tried to capture what I could right now, and maybe next week you can find full-blown, full-length interviews. I think he does a Q&A. Some jagoff named Ranveer, who is a Saudi Arabian actor, is like a huge Depp fan, and he talks about how he's the ultimate chameleon, and apparently he does a Q&A with Depp, and I'm not gonna, until we find the long form version of it, I don't want to go into it until I don't want to do I'm hoping there's like a 20-minute version of that coming out because I can't find anything that satisfies me yet.
Why is he a jagoff? Because it wasn't you doing it?
No, because I'm a lack of a better word. That's what an idiot does. They use slang and curses when they couldn't think of a better thing to say.
Jealousy.
He could be a jagoff, though. He could very well be a jagoff.
Acting and directing.
And yes, yes, I deserve to meet Depp before he does. If that's
You
what you're
certainly
implying.
deserve to meet Depp
Yes.
before Popcorn Planet.
Everybody before Shane McGowan.
Okay.
I am the boss on the set. I'm doing no, Johnny, you're doing that, and then shut up, and then you kiss me. So for him, it was like whoa.
Didn't she publicly say she hated working with him?
Yes. Yes, and then backpedaled on, then walked it back when they had to sell the movie, and then
of course
he lets you get away with it. I don't know what he gets at.
Oh, he knows
anything French. He's on board.
He melts.
Anything French.
He melts for a baguette.
And my thoughts are, if Depp was difficult, he has every right to be difficult. He has been doing this longer than she has. He has done what 30 times the motion picture she has. You don't think he knows a little something?
Wasn't this like, I could be wrong, I know nothing about her. Wasn't this, from what I read, her first, like, where she takes the lead,
Yeah,
stars,
she's
directs,
trying to do
does all of that?
right, wearing all the hats.
People were blowing smoke up her ass. And then here he comes telling her, "Oh, I may have done it this way instead." And, you know.
His process is he has total autonomy
Mhm.
from other directors. They don't even he was granted, and deservedly so, he has his own kind of, I don't know if you call it method acting style, where he comes in and says, okay, I get a feeling of, let's take Jack Sparrow, the cliche of Jack Sparrow we've heard 1,000 times, right?
Mhm.
I'll do something more original. Let's talk about Agent Sands from Once Upon a Time in Mexico. His thing is, and this is any aspiring actors could take a lesson from this. I think it's an easy way to get at something. He goes, okay, well, I see this guy on paper as, he reminds me of this sleazy agent that I had at some point. I think it was the guy before Tracy Jacobs. I think it was like who he was with, or some kind of agency where a PR person, agent that he was dealing with.
Mhm.
Well, maybe it might have been a lawyer, actually. And he said, well, this guy is smarmy and everything is sarcastic and he's always scheming and you can't trust him in any situation, no matter what he says. The most mundane thing has a sarcastic lilt to it. You just can't trust this guy. And so I'm basing this Agent Sands character on this fucking sleazy lawyer that I disliked, and I'm going to just do an impression of him. And so that's his process. She's going to tell him, no. On my page, it's like this. You don't go off the page. I'm telling you how it's supposed to be played. You don't get to create this. I created it. You're doing it my way. He doesn't want
I
to hear
totally
that,
see that. Yeah.
because he's done it his way since, I'm going to go back to, I want to say the early 90s, he was able to write his own. I'm going to go to Ed Wood, because that's the first time I had heard of him taking Ronald Reagan and Casey Kasem and throwing them together in the Tim Burton kind of way. So that before that, he was more on the page, but I think Ed Wood's the first time they let him really play around with his idea of creating the character in the screenplay. I think Gilbert Grape is pretty much on the page as it was.
Mhm.
Like, what would his most who know Depp says that the Gilbert Grape characters, who he really is like in real life, the most, that guy, the way Gilbert Grape was played, is who Depp's personality left to his own devices. That's who he's most like.
Strip everything away, and
Strip
that's what
everything
he's,
away.
yeah.
That's who he really is. And with Gilbert Grape, when you watch that, you kind of going like, who is this guy, right?
Mhm.
Like, What's Eating Gilbert Grape's a great title, because you kind of looking like, what is this guy? What is he? He's obsessed with taking care of his family, but there's a lot more going on in his head. And you sort of going, I don't think you ever really had him figured out entirely throughout that movie. If you think, oh, you didn't see Gilbert Grape. Who am I talking to here?
Correct. I'm just going with it.
You were going to cry your ass off.
That's why I'm not going to watch
There's
it.
a half dozen scenes, I think, that are going to really get you. One of them, there's like 2, 3 that are impossible not to cry.
You're assuming I'm going to watch it.
Well,
as soon as you fly out here, hold me down, and we watch it, then I'll watch it.
Could they? Was it someone's idea? Was it mine or Judy Tenuta's, that you could do a sequel to that movie? Like, what happens to Juliette Lewis? No, seriously.
I think so. That's a good idea.
You bring them all back, and
the problem is you wouldn't have Depp in the sequel. You'd have Skeet.
Skeet Ulrich, Stephen Dorff.
It would be a TV movie version of the film. So no.
Let me get rid of these Shane McGowan things. It's cluttering up my.
But it's not like you're going to delete them. You just minimize them.
No, I'm going to delete these. The story coming out of this Red Sea Film Festival is that somehow Will Smith emerges, and he's game on in Saudi Arabia. They're fine with him, and he and Depp are doing this photo op together. And there's a little bit, again, I'm sure there's more footage by now, but this is all I have so far. And
I thought you were going somewhere else. Will Smith gay on.
Is he officially gay? I mean, or is it
I don't know. There's a rumor that something was seen by by an assistant. I don't know.
I tell you, his whole thing with Jada Pinkett gives me a headache. Like I'm trying not to follow it. That those two have been like a pill for much of our adult lives, and I'm sick of them, and I'm trying to avoid it because I'm so tired of them. I can't believe they're not Scientologists, too, by the way. Which
There's a reason you can't believe it, that they're not.
Um,
But the term cuck is way overused. I overuse it, but he certainly fits into that role, I would say.
okay, so this is Depp and Will Smith in a little shot here, and by the way, I have never in all the Depp times, and I'm always trying to play the 6 degrees game with him. I have never seen him with Will Smith in a picture, in a set, in a shot. They've never done a movie together. We have seen Jada Pinkett donate Depp the People's Choice Awards at that CBS thing when he was very rattled and his mom just died. That's Depp on the balls of his ass
With the tear in his eye at the end.
yes, and he's got the City of Lies hair,
Mhm.
which is what he's filming
And
at
the
the time.
the blonde mustache, yes, that I can't stand.
Yeah, Ranveer Singh is a Hindi language Bollywood star. So this is all Bollywood. I know you.
We got Johnny Depp, Will Smith. We got Johnny Depp.
It's so strange though to put them together, about just the infamy and the controversy surrounded to the both of them in the last 3 years, and to see them in frame together is quite a weird coincidence. It's not I mean, is it deliberate that the Saudis are can we just get the most controversial A-list names and throw them in the same shot? Like it's so strange.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.
Since you're putting up some chat, G Canada's, don't put that up. Just admire it from afar.
He's in it sporadically since he's focused on.
I know, but there's, we might get in trouble.
Sporadically is a weird word. I'm going to do a when I watch it, J.I. Young, I'm going to do a minutes count when I finally get the endurance to take it in all at once. He should have gotten an Oscar four times. You think Depp should have gotten an Oscar 4 times?
Watch where you're going. You're getting close.
Okay. Hi, Gunga Din. Welcome, sir. I would love to make a short film starring Depp, Arm, and that jerk off. That
I'd like to see a long film starring Depp and Arm without the.
I have so many. I'm halfway through Gilbert Grape. What? So you haven't seen it either, Joni, all the way through? Hard. So many, too many raw nerves. Okay, so she's having a hard time getting through. It is relentlessly sad. I mean, it's even the downtime is sad because like the impending, the sort of nowheresville and the oppression. And this is not a commentary on that you have to be in a big city to have any kind of things going, but it's just the way you're meant to. It's meant to evoke a melancholy in you. So I like how DiCaprio plays himself and Gilbert Grape, Frank the Tank.
Don't put the next one up.
Okay, G Canada's writing something controversial here. Let's see if I can interpret it.
Don't put it up. It's funny.
He's comparing Depp's parental skills to Will Smith's parental skills in a parent off, is what he's doing.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. So yeah, keep going.
George Clooney is speaking in that clip. I didn't even know that, Joni. Is that Clooney's voice, Sarah? Did you pick up on that?
I can see that. Yeah, I wasn't listening to who it was, but
now that I know this, because I thought I saw Clooney's name bandied about. I didn't know Sharon Stone's name is bandied about in this thing.
We got Johnny Depp.
That's him.
Will Smith.
He's out of breath.
Fellow Kentucky brethren, George Clooney, as a matter of fact, grew up near Cincinnati, I think in North Kentucky. Depp and Clooney
He's
have
in
a
France
weird.
now.
Does Clooney live in France?
I think so. Isn't that where that lake is that he's got the mansion on?
Depp and Clooney have a fascinating ships that almost don't bump in the night relationship. I don't know how to describe it with these two. Not just the Kentucky thing, right? So you remember the movie Confessions of a Dangerous Mind?
Mm-hmm.
It's about the Gong Show, and Sam Rockwell plays the lead in this. Initially, George Clooney was the executive producer and director of it, and da da da. For many years, or a few years, Depp is rumored to play the Sam Rockwell role. And this was going back and forth, and it was then, and Clooney's going to be in it, it's da da da. Drew Barrymore is in it, and they change it and whatever. And then Clooney gets cornered. He's like, what happened to, all of a sudden Depp is out. And Sam Rockwell is in, and Clooney says, oh, well, Depp is too good looking to play, what's his name? The Gong Show, host of the Gong Show. Not Bert Convy. Chuck Barris. Thank you, Autobot. Chuck Barris. And he was making, and people got pissed at Clooney because they wanted to see, this had been floating around for years and it never came to fruition. And it was like, this sounds like a wacky thing. And they had hyped it for so long. And it was like Clooney was selling the movie with Depp's name on it. Then at the last second, they pulled, I don't know if it's the studio, they go with Sam Rockwell. And I have a suspect that to save budget, they didn't want to pay Depp's salary, and they chose Sam Rockwell, who did a great job. He's a good actor. He did a great job in it, but it was sold for such a long time. So that people got pissed at Clooney for that. Then cut to, he does Ocean's 11, and he tries to cast Depp in the, God damn it, I want to say I can't remember if it was the Brad Pitt or Matt Damon role. And then Depp canceled on him. So there's like this almost like weird, uncomfortable, and you never see them together. Like I've never once seen Depp and Clooney in a frame together, in an interview, in a picture, in a film, and they constantly just missing each other and all these kind of things. Clooney's one of these guys who's done the most with, I don't consider him immensely talented. He kind of can just play like, a handsome lead. He does the most he can do with the talent God gave him, which is, he's just a very basic actor, but he knows, he's a really smart guy. He's a really likable guy. I like him a lot. He knows good material, and he kind of is someone who doesn't waste a minute, with what he's given, with the material he's given. And I was hoping they would work together, but it just hasn't happened. And Joni, thanks for pointing that out, because I didn't see that's definitely Clooney. It's the first time I've ever heard those two on screen in any way, shape, and form.
And she also corrected me. It is Italy. I always make that mistake with George Clooney's house.
I thought he had several residents. I thought he lived in France.
I'm sure he
too.
does.
I know the Italy thing. I thought he has several residences.
I'm sure he does.
Very well could.
So I could be technically right.
Yeah. Fine. Let's see. Do I have anything else from this? Just again for next time. So I have this whole thing. I have a medley. It says Red Sea, and here's him just kind of walking around the place and.
Who's that next to him?
Do you think he's waiting for Jean de Barry to start, or is he watching someone else's film?
I don't know. Who's next to him?
Some Bollywood broad, some
No.
Bollywood groupie.
For a second, I thought it was me. I look just like her.
Oh, you do? Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Are Depp's glasses transitions?
They look like they are.
Like it turns the blue tint when you walk into a certain lighting of some kind?
Probably. My tongue would be in his ear, though.
So that's just a random shot someone took. It's been going around, and him sitting in the thing. Thank you, Rodney. Here's Rodney's sample size.
Thank you.
Popovich needs 5 Hall of Fame caliber players to win. I agree with that, Rodney. The Sunshine, on his pockmarked face for 20 years. He is a fraud. He's bigger than Billy. I think you're right about that, Rodney.
Rodney, be
you're right
careful.
about
He's
that.
going to stop the game and get on the mic to scold you.
Tanking. Are we thinking about you? You keep trying to lure me in to do an NBA podcast, and Rodney's
I
the
think you
perfect
should.
guy to have on. Rodney's like the
You should
perfect
do it
guy.
on Patreon.
Speaking of frauds, which one of you babies bans a new little Deppening club channel? Fair play, G Canada is a god in these parts. It's funny. And that's Popovich is a great topic to take on in an NBA podcast. It's like completely, like the whole thing about him tanking and getting Duncan, the team with Robinson, and forcing Bob Hill out and firing him, and so he got the job. And Rodney's right. Rodney's a big Spurs fan. And
Who's more annoying, though? It would be Popovich versus Kerr.
they're friends. He played, he's
I
at
can
Spurs.
see why they're friends.
Popovich has that whole tree that's out there, and the coaching tree that came from him.
They probably blame Trump when their team loses.
They blame Popovich is the blame for a lot of things. The Hacka Jordan thing, the Hacka Jordan thing, and then load management. Popovich they call him the godfather of rest, and he's blamed for a lot of the load management issues the NBA has now. I don't want to derail it. I can go on.
You'll do that
Last
on
night,
your NBA show next week.
Okay, that was Jean DuBarry's screen this afternoon. I wonder if it was how they had that set up. So yeah, I don't know. The NBA podcast, you got to think of a name. If anybody has a name, I want to think of like a weird. You know
you
what we
could
call
do
it?
that.
Mookie
Hold
Blaylock.
on. Okay, do that. That's fine.
That Pearl
But
Jam didn't use it.
it might be better live, so do it on the YouTube channel.
You
That
think it
way
would be better live?
people can join and you can play off the chat.
Well, I don't know what to do. Like, it takes a lot of, do you go old school, new school, or
You
put them
talk about whatever
together,
you
or
want.
I don't know. You got to be different than what everybody else is doing. Find an interview with some obscure player and who will be willing to come on that no one thinks about, like a Ken Norman interview kind of thing. Right? What's Loy Vaught up to these days? Right? That kind of guy.
Caldwell Jones.
Okay. The next thing, Marwin. This is let's see this.
They are all over him. They are all over him. You notice that?
Now these are like Bollywood princesses that are just hovering around there, and everyone's like super wealthy, and they can just it's just a weird thing. That's just like, yeah, it's like an Instagram thing. And I don't know.
That annoys me about those little shorts. Is that they loop? They're like 3 seconds and they loop. It's so annoying.
Here's him entering the thing with his security. You'll see Sean Bett, and I don't know if you can see anyone else.
And
Who's the
please
black guy
turn your
behind him?
phone. Can I say landscape mode? Please, I beg you. I know that's an old hacky thing to say, but turn the goddamn phone.
We're all guilty of it. We all do that front because it's the knee-jerk reaction is to go vertical with it when you should go horizontal, and then we all do it. It's ridiculous.
We all do it.
I do it. No, we do. Looks like the Massapequa Mall at Christmas time, right, Sarah? I want to know the new black security guards. I want to see these guys. I want to know more about.
They could be temporary or
You're
part
probably right.
timers.
You're probably right. One more time.
Do you think? I like how his team though kind of picks him up by the elbows and just carries him in.
They play good cop, bad cop. Do you think Saudi Arabian princes are just throwing money at him under the table that we don't know about? Like where there's just.
I don't know, but some of those women, I would assume that they were slipping him notes with room numbers or phone numbers.
You got to wonder how he treats what's going on groupie wise, how he treats that whole thing. how much guard is up, and you're just sort of always, I wonder how that's all treated. We'll never
I
know.
would assume that there's always a woman with him.
You'd think.
Because there was, in not deposition. Where did we find that out that he had about 3 or 4 different girlfriends?
Yeah, that was when
Kind of hovering around.
Was that the Robin Baum publicist era of? And you go, oh, he's
Maybe.
with her and with her, like what, huh? And I'm of course, Rochelle Hathaway is always lurking right
Yeah.
in and around that time.
But he had more than that at one time. So he was seeing about 3 or 4 different women.
What year are you ballparking this at?
I don't. God, it was discussed at great length. I think it was in unreleased deposition transcripts. I don't know.
Are you talking about? Remember Robin Baum, the publicist who he was seeing, and that was
Yes, I know.
that was covered.
That might be what I'm thinking. I don't know.
It's definitely she's in on that without a doubt. Okay, here's this is just like
He's just got regional girlfriends.
Yeah, without doubt. Yeah, we did that already. All right, let me see if there's anything more. I wanted to show you this. This is something else I found. This is from a decade ago. This is how, like you would take your like a lot of parents would do, right? You take your 8-year-old to an Iggy Pop concert. So this is. Do you remember like the lawsuit he had that his security roughed up
Yes.
people? Was that a Foo Fighters show? Or was it an Iggy Pop?
I think
show?
it was a Foo Fighter show.
I thought it was also Iggy Pop, or maybe. So this is him leaving the Iggy Pop concert, and you see an 8-year-old Jack with him, and I think Lily Rose might be here as well. It's so bizarre. This is so try hard, and not taking your kids to a fucking Iggy Pop concert. What a dumbass! Oh, I hate every bit of this.
You wish you were Jack.
Foisting your own bullshit on Jack.
You just want to be
8
Jack.
years old. What 8-year-old needs to go to Iggy Pop concert? It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Well, kids go through phases.
Oh,
I was
God,
into
help
the
me.
Doors when I was 8, so.
There's
down,
Lily's there.
Yep. That's Arm.
Then listen, you got to really listen because they shout 21 Jump Street things at him.
Oh no.
During this, yeah. There's Jack. That's an Iggy Pop concert. See the glasses to the right?
Yeah, it sounds like somebody's out there doing your impersonation of Tom Hansen yelling.
Well, Wendy the retard. That's our favorite gun smuggling. That's our favorite gun smuggling tattoo artist to the right, Jonathan Shaw. He's the worst friends. He's the worst fucking friends. He's really, truly, if they say Depp might be like an exception to the thing of like you are who you hang with. He is the worst fucking scumbag. Beachy, Cold Clee. These are the worst people. And fucking Roman Polanski. Could you pick any worse people to hang out with? He needs outlaws and these pieces of shit, pedophiles and outlaws around.
Johnny, what do you think of Iggy?
Again, an 8-year-old. How about a breakfast cereal, Iggy and the Pops, that Jack eats at this point, and the Iggy Pop animated series.
What's up, Judge?
Johnny,
Nikolai?
seem like you really acted like Hunter in Run Diary.
You already got screamed at him?
What? No.
Because Johnny, it seems like you and Hunter really got along on the Rum Diaries.
Oh my god.
So they're just like shouting any random, like non-question.
Just saying, I saw the commercial.
Stand, like, see it already started playing. We were looking around, and I don't know where this next week was, but I didn't see one. But, so I'm really sorry about that, man. But I'll talk. Who are your influences?
Who are your influences?
I want to puke.
Hey, who are your influences?
Don't smoke around your kid.
He's blowing smoke in his 8-year-old's face.
No, not in his face, but it
He's right under his left arm, Sarah.
I'm going back to like 1986 again with
G.
every adult in
Canada's
my
right
life
with what he
smoking.
said with that.
Is it?
Not only is he blowing smoke in his face, he's letting other people light up and blowing smoke in his son's face at the same time in a public place, which you're not allowed to smoke in.
Iggy Pop, your influence!
Hey, Iggy, what do you think of Johnny? Is he your hero?
Gilbert!
They think they're really clever.
Jump Street was good too. He slips in, and then you hear a chick tag it. She goes, "No, it's better than good."
Good too. That was the best. What are you talking about?
She goes, "That was the best. What are you talking about? That's the best."
Who else dresses like that? Some fucking guy who wants to be Johnny Depp?
She can tell me the name of his character.
The only proof he has is he's on the inside of his gate right now. He's started in the band.
He did compliment him on his body of work. He did.
Johnny, you are seriously cool! You love Iggy!
I hate your kids.
No, he's gonna come this way.
I hate your kids. No.
You darn little wolf. Are they? What are you guys?
Look at cute little Jack right in between, right next to a
I know
gun
his kids were
smuggling.
adorable when they were younger.
Look, do you realize the felon that his son is next to right here? We read the transcript, right? Does it get any worse than putting your son next to a gun smuggling drug tattoo artist? God damn it. Why don't you deal some knives to Jack Depp while you're at it, Jonathan Shaw?
Hey, you might want to come around here.
Give him an automatic weapon so he can shoot up his school off Sweetser. Why don't you do what? Where do you think those guns went?
Come here and come inside. Because you need to.
Shut up. Johnny Depp doesn't have a belly like that. That's why I'm like, what?
I'm trying, but I'm...
So they're apparently waiting for Iggy Pop to come out with them. That's how you
It's
know.
also a good example as to why celebrities have no respect for these people.
Why celebrities have no respect for who?
The people asking them questions.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because the questions are so. You know, you heard them.
No, I know. They're like, you know, moronic. They're not. They didn't craft them. They have nothing insightful to say. But even if they had something insightful to say, you really think he would have responded to that? He's in that tone. He's got Iggy Pop there. He's no way he's going to stop what he's doing. And there's nothing you could say to get his attention there. He's in that mode where he's as nice as he is to the general public most of the time. There's a mode that he goes in where he looks down and he could tune out any of the. He's just looking them as paparazzi, and he's checked out.
Yeah.
G. Canada says, thanks to Sara. Great to hear the dulcet tones of Miss Sweet Sara again. We all stand with you, Sara. Your terrible taste in depth notwithstanding. Thank you so much for coming back. Oh, that's a great compliment, Sara. Who needs right?
Well, thank you, G. Canada.
Glad he's on our side. That's all I can say. I asked Gunga Den said, you know, I asked my boss for some load management time and he laid me off. I don't want to restart that feud. Liddell Eccles. We got to get Liddell
No,
Eccles.
please don't.
Yeah,
Just ignore it.
The West Memphis 3 show's coming up with Liddell Eccles. That should be fun. We're going to, just before we do our little transcript reading to end this, here is, and I haven't spoken to him in a long time, here is Bon Jovial now. Bon, welcome, sir. I hear a sound effect come.
You said you knew I was gifted, but you never could figure out just how much. You always said you knew I was gifted, but you never could figure out just how much.
G'day.
For all you Depp heads, that of course was Lily Rose in Idol on HBO. That was her big hit.
With hairy armpits.
Sarah made that, didn't you? Yeah?
No, I didn't.
Aren't you Horsetooth? Horsetooth on YouTube? Isn't that your
No,
channel?
no, that's another person.
Everybody thought that was you.
I thought it was you.
I did too for a long time, but I did as well. Because it has your personality a little bit. It's got a lot of your like caustic wit, and it really feels like that's a compliment, Sarah. That could be
I did put her dancing at the rave in Europe in our Tracy Jacobs video.
Bon, doesn't Boys of the Hamptons come from that channel as well?
Yes, it does. That's why I always thought
That's why you
Sarah
think it
made
could.
that. Now I'm realizing that I've been giving Sarah so much credit.
Well, you thought I was a nurse
couple of
too,
years.
so thank you for
Yeah,
that.
well, I'm still reeling from that, and I'm looking for explanations. I've been going through episodes from like a year or so ago on this channel to try and work out how I got suckered. But anyway, I just dropped into.
You want to tell us about one of the bands Sarah brought up, right? Is that what you want?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was surprised that you hadn't heard of
I'm just being honest. I never heard of them. I wish I did. I've never heard of them.
I stand by what I said.
Yeah, I've seen them live twice. I know what you mean. They're a Texas band, John, and they came out of the dissolution of another band called At the Drive-In, and this band in the late 90s, they put out an album called The Relationship of Command, and when it came out, it was likened to Nirvana Nevermind for the impact. I remember when it came out and I got it and I was like, this is the most awesome album. It was in 2000 it came out. And then a year later, they mysteriously broke up under massive fights between band members, and then the guitarist and the singer formed the Mars Volta, and they put out an album a couple of years later, and completely different kind of vibe, like prog rock. But I got some clips because I wanted you to see, and I checked these for copyright. So
Before
this
you
was
play that,
Uh-huh.
the lead singer of Mars Volta, his wife was one of the Danny Masterson victims.
Oh my God.
And Scientology has, well, they've been doing it for a while apparently,
Oh,
but harassed the couple and possibly killed their dog.
You're right. I completely forgot about that. Was a big deal. Like a year ago or so, she made a statement.
Yeah, he
remember.
testified.
What's the
Yeah, and-
derivation of the name Mars Volta? Like, what is that?
I don't
Oh,
know.
they're these guys are bizarre. So I couldn't even begin. They're out of their minds. Like, it's amazing you were just talking about Iggy Pop, because Iggy Pop sang when they were in the band before Mars Volta. He sang on a song on their album, and
I zoned because I was waiting for Maynard.
Well, I saw that. I saw them. I've seen them twice, and yeah, they can play for like 2.5 hours with long prog rock noise sections where it's just bizarre noises for minutes. So yeah, if you weren't into them, but I absolutely loved them, and I got a couple of clips just for John, and maybe
No, I want
people
to
listening.
hear it. I definitely want to hear it. Definitely.
And I'll just
I
stream
own
that.
all the rights to Mars Volta and
No, I checked this, John. I uploaded it.
Well, it doesn't matter
so-
because I own the rights to it, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. I would have just.
Well, that negates any legal precedent. So, I mean, we could broadcast, Oppenheimer
Of course.
next week on here. All you have to say is that before we start the show. That'd be great.
Christopher Nolan, Wally Pfister.
So this video is at the start. The first half is the band when they were called At the Drive-In before. So, and just to give you just the energy these guys can put out
I'll be over here
and
napping.
still is. It's absolutely awesome. It's only a couple of minutes.
Don't
so
you
the-
like these guys, sir? Why would you nap?
Well, she doesn't like the Mars Volta, which was like the bizarre vision, but these two guys in this band At the Drive-In, this was like punk.
So this is part of that
awesomeness.
Texas Austin rock scene that we hear about.
Yeah, well, these guys own that scene. These guys are incredibly famous now. Like,
right.
huge. Like I'll give you an example that relates back to Depp and stuff. An album a few years after they got together, the guitarist taught John Frusciante all of the guitar for the album, and John recorded the guitar for the album.
That's, if anyone doesn't know, that's the Chili Peppers guitarist who was at the Viper Room when all went down, with huge part of the River Phoenix death at the Viper Room. One might say the biggest culprit in the whole scenario.
One might say the supplier.
It's a supplier, right?
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like that. But apart from that, God, John Frusciante, incredible guitarist. Just
Joaquin Phoenix on the sidewalk too, which ironically we brought up. He's going to be in Napoleon, which is going to, I believe, hurt the Jean du Barry, because it's going to look like we don't need two French period pieces at the same time. And I honestly, Joaquin Phoenix has had an amazing. I can't believe how good a career he's had. Honestly, it's crazy when you look at what he's done in the last 15 years. Just one massive performance after the next.
What has he done since Parenthood? It's the only thing I've heard about. Oh.
Kind of sounds a little like Rage Against the Machine a little bit.
Yeah, man, it does.
Right?
It's definitely it does for sure.
Is that what he's going for? Or he just happens to sound like...
Oh, he's got that in it. He can sing though. That's the difference. So he does this screaming part, and then he'll sing passages. I edited in a part where he sings "Lovely," that's coming up. So there's
what
a
year
lot
is
of people
this,
listening. This is 2001, I think.
Okay. You know, honestly, you really, I don't know. I mean, everyone's got pockets of knowledge, but you really know a shitload about rock and roll. You know everything. You know, there's even obscure bands and stuff. You really know a ton, and I don't.
I
use
know.
That loosely.
I'm like your knowledge bank on Depp is like mine on music. Like I can go nuts. Like when Sarah said, if I'd been on the air, I would have just said, okay, let me tell you about Mars Volta for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and
I knew I could tell how excited.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
There's nothing crazy when someone brings up something you're ridiculously passionate or knowledgeable about and isn't quite giving it the credit it deserves. You feel that you have to champion.
Oh yeah, like when she said the perfect circle, a lot of people aren't familiar with that, and I was like, oh, even that would get me going. And they're much more well known.
Meridian Ohms, maybe one of the best albums of the 2000s.
Yes.
Rage Against the Machine is in the City of Lies soundtrack. It actually opens the movie. Like a montage. It looks like Bruce Whitkin a little bit. Remember Bruce Whitkin, the early days with the Kids? He looks like Bruce Whitkin with the Jew fro and the Kids in the early 80s. He looks like Slash, that other guy.
Yeah.
Can you see how I would just zone out?
Oh well, you would have liked this. This is the old band before the Mars Volta, because we're going to go to the Mars Volta now. It'll start switching to it, and that's whacked out. And they've changed their clothing and everything. They're going for like a '60s vibe, and it's definitely different. I'll just look it up.
Do they still play to this day?
Yes. And by the way, that was the first song in their set. So that's the energy. Normal bands are doing that at the end of the show, the last song. God. They do it every song. So this is the new band they formed, which Sarah was talking about. And this is the Mars Volta, and you'll notice the difference.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, definitely. And then they go off in this jazzy, this is like improvising jazz sort of shit, which I absolutely love.
an hour of this before your favorite band comes on.
Imagine Wayman Tisdale playing with these guys, Sarah, speaking of jazz.
That would have
bass guitar.
That would have woken me up at least.
But that's them. But Sarah's right. Like their songs, John, aren't. There's few songs they've done that are under 4 minutes. Most of them are 15-minute songs. They do. So to go and see them, they might play 4 songs if they were just playing before at a Perfect Circle or something. So it's crazy shit.
How do you keep that up? They play for what? 2 hours?
Oh, sometimes 3.
I think it was 20.
I don't know how to keep that up. Do they do a song where it's just instrumental so he could rest his voice?
Yes, all the time. He wanders off and he plays other instruments and shit. They do weird shit. I saw them where I saw them where they were headlining, and I was standing, and it probably was like 2.5 hours. And by the end of it, I was so tired. I was like, oh, guys, play venues that just have seats throughout. And I think
what did you do
now.
while they were playing, Sarah? Where'd you go?
I'm
She
very
would have been
good.
in the bathroom. Like,
No. I
snorting a
stayed in
couple
my
of
seat. I'm
lines.
very good. I can stare at a wall and just zone out.
And
very
John,
easily.
don't you want to see that? Like I am thinking right now. I just want to see Sarah staring at a wall.
That would be.
Look at my avatar. You see it right there without the smile. That's what my eyes are doing at a concert. Just staring at like a speaker.
It would be as entertaining to watch you watch them during that. I agree with that.
Exactly. Like a dream. I'd go into like a time loop, like Doctor Who sort of thing, just watching her. I can imagine her standing next to the stage in front of the huge speaker stacks, just nodding with her eyes closed. Like in a goth
staring.
sort of outfit, once a Perfect Circle, the music you love, but I can imagine her just nodding with her eyes closed and just rocking out like long hair. And when they get really heavy, she starts shaking her hair like crazy. And the moment the show finishes, she just walks out the door. And she's done, on her own.
Sang every
she goes
word.
to the train station.
Maynard was he was in a long blonde Barbie wig. I sang every word because I knew every word.
I saw that tour as well. And then I saw the next one for 13th Step, which was a fucking awesome album. It's hard to pick which is better. And that tour is when Maynard changed. Did you see that tour as well?
I did, yes. That's when they opened for 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, and you remember then Maynard put up the big box and he was inside the box.
Yes.
You could never see him again. That's what he
My
decided.
2 favorite bands were A Perfect Circle and 9 Inch Nails. And they opened for 9 Inch Nails. That's when I made a fool of myself and I yelled out to Trent Reznor that I loved him. That was before I met him.
But everybody was yelling at him. He wouldn't have heard you anyway.
Well, it was a very slow moment of one of the slow songs off of that double album. Jesus, it's been so long.
Oh, the Fragile.
Yes,
awesome
yes, yes,
album.
yes.
Oh my God, that's when I started
slow
listening
piano
to
solo.
them.
Trent's taken over with the solo, and I scream out, "I love you, Trent."
Oh yeah, you know the one he plays it. Yeah, he plays it slowly for like a couple of minutes, and he's just going dong dong.
I ruined
and then
his
it goes
moment,
dong
but that's all right.
dong dong, and it kicks in, and it's the Wretched or something.
Oh.
It's an amazing album again, a 5-star fucking album. The
Yes.
Fragile. Who would have thought a guy who made the Downward Spiral could follow it up with something that I think is even better?
Yes, and it did not get 5% of the credit it deserved.
It
Sarah,
didn't. You're
didn't
right.
you flash Dave Navarro?
She did.
Yes, I did. I was a
You
minor.
remember that story? You were a minor?
I was a minor. I
What
was
did he do?
17.
Did he see you?
Yes.
How close were you to the stage?
I was right below Dave Navarro.
Huh? Is he like a Mexican midget?
He's a very
like
short man.
5'5"?
He's a very short, skinny man.
Where do you rank him as a musician, Bon?
But top notch.
Yeah,
He's a great guitar player.
He's brilliant. His
And that-
tenure in the Red Hot Chili Peppers was terrible.
And people,
That was terrible.
well, I disagree. People rip on that album, One Hot Minute. I love that album.
Oh, I'm one of the people who rip on it. Oh, that was just.
I love that album.
He
And
actually
he's
looks
all-
like Jonathan Shaw, Sarah Depp's gun running, drug running tattoo friend.
What ruined Dave Navarro was he married Jesus, Carmen.
Electra.
Yes. I want to say San Diego. My God,
I
I'm
have to
tired.
say, Dave Navarro, in the times that he seems like a really cool guy. I'm always impressed when I watch him interviewed. He seems like he kind of gets it. I don't know. Am I wrong? He doesn't seem like a jag. He seems like a.
No, he's cool.
We're so off topic.
He's a weird guy.
His mother was murdered when he was a child.
Yeah, he dated Fiona Apple for a while, and she dumped him, and he went crazy and like slid his wrists and wrote all this stuff in her house, in her apartment, on a mirror, in his blood, and all this stuff. He's just crazy. But the work he did with Jane's Addiction on their first few albums, that's class. That influenced so many guitarists.
I was so in love with
later
him.
of the 90s.
I even bought the Deconstruction album.
I bought that too. I've got that too, and it's great. I love it that you have that. I'm so
Frank
impressed.
Tag brings up a question. We brought up a question before. We said, "What bands do people bring up to make that be like what a Family Feud type of question? Like, what bands, the top 10 bands people bring up to make themselves sound cool? Where does Mars Volta rank in that? Do they rank
very
in that?
high, very high, because they split up for a few years. And so both of those bands that I showed you the videos of, they ended up, the first band that split up ended up getting back together in 2010 or something. So they're both now back together. But Mars Volta, if you're out at the front of a gig and you start talking to some people and you're going to drop band names, dropping the Mars Volta is the bomb, man.
I can't believe I haven't even
saw the Ramones in the. This is like way cool. People are going to go, oh shit, I always wanted to see them live. That's what people would say.
You just get an eye roll as I walk away from me. So
she thinks she missed the train to Mars. She's
Not
out
quite.
back counting stars. That's what that reminds me of. Was it Hum, right? That was the band. Hum opening for Mars Volta, and they sing Mars together. That's my dream.
I hated that the way Howard talked about it, because I have one of their albums and they were a good band. So that was really strange that he liked them. It's very strange because
they were not dicks at all when they were on the show. They were not dicks at all. I recently had the E show of that. He's completely embellished now.
That E show created many a good GIF.
Yes, it did.
Him drumming and.
But
Anyways,
what?
Let's get back.
We're going to do a little bit of this transcript. And I don't know if you want to play Camille Vasquez, an Australian male playing Camille Vasquez. It'd be really funny. Do you see the transcript on our screen?
Yes, please.
I'm Mr. Treece. Sara is Christie Depp Dembrowski.
I love it when you did this. You did this a long time ago, and it was absolutely. I watched the whole thing. Continue, please.
It's hard to do this the whole time, so we only do it like in short. Burst.
Yeah, because you know, I did a whole bit about this on a Gunk show where I talked about how you, John, in the skill. This is why I call you the best podcaster ever. You didn't just read it. You actually added emphasis and sarcasm. You know, you'd be like, is that really what happened? Instead of saying, is that really what happened? You're like, is that really what? And you
gotta try to
add little. It's ad-libbing on a top level. Come on, man.
Oh, thank you. Sara's born to play Christie Dembrowski. I mean, she sounds like her. You know, she acts like it's so. It's like not even. And Sara's very underrated in these. I think you were great as Tracy Jacobs as well. We're only gonna do about 10 minutes of it. I don't know if you wanna play Camille Vasquez Bond. You're more than welcome.
I'll just witness for a little.
Okay, you don't want to. Okay, all you get. She just objects the whole time. She just objects.
We can skip it. It's fine.
Okay. So Sara, I'm going to start at 145 here. I'm Josh Treece, and I'm going to do it as Feeney because we don't know what he sounds like. And he's not in my avatar, but okay. So I'm right here, top. I'm on. Ready? Okay. So. Well, she sent him this. They're talking about the text before here. So, well, she sent him this text, and he sent this text to you, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I will object, John. I'll do the objections. I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
It's just you don't have to do it. It's just Miss Vasquez.
Yeah, I see the line there. Is she gonna?
It's line 5, and you would say assumes facts, calls for hearsay, calls for speculation.
Exactly. So I'll do that now. Assumes facts, calls for hearsay, calls for speculation.
Join, and I'm back to Treece. So I go, and he was told in this text by Amber, and you were told in this text by Amber because he forwarded it to you, didn't he? And that demon is killing us, and that this is what she's afraid of. Correct?
Objection. Asked and answered. Calls for hearsay, assumes facts lack a foundation, calls for speculation.
It's her descriptive word.
that's what Christie would do. And she says that demon, because despite how much I've tried to fight him off, he has been winning with you. I'm scared, Johnny, so scared. Do you see that?
Yes.
By the way, I just want to set this up a little bit. This is the unsealed documents. This has never been done anywhere. So this is something that this is Depp's sister who was drilled by the lawyers, Josh Treece. And he's a lawyer that we did not see in Fairfax. And this is her deposition that was not released. And we assume because there's a lot they don't want seen. Or usually when something is not shown, it's probably not flattering to the Depp camp. And do you recall telling Miss Heard in the text we looked at earlier on May 25th that she needed to tell Johnny she was scared?
Objection. Misstates the document, misstates prior testimony, calls for hearsay.
I remember that.
You know what we need here, John? I'm just.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
Like a little like
yeah,
that's
I can
good.
loop that.
That's really good. Nice job, Don. It sounds like the beginning of Booker, Hot in the City.
I don't. You say that every time. It's not actually. It's not the one I wanted. I wanted another one. I know that's good. Wait a sec. Just wait a sec. I've got a different one here. This one. Let's just get it right if we're going to do it properly. No, that's not the one I wanted.
That's good.
Fuck's sake. No, this is the one I wanted. This is even better. Here we go. Wait for a sec. No, it's the same one.
All right.
Let's stay with it. Let's
Let it
stay
go.
with this.
And then here she's doing what you advise now. She's telling Johnny that she's so scared, and she's scared of the demon, correct? And
Is that
Bond,
me?
you go,
Objection.
Yeah, you go. That's right.
Calls for speculation, calls for hearsay, double hearsay. Assumes facts. How could she say double hearsay?
Oh,
that
she
can't be a...
If you listen to the last time we read this, the guy I'm playing, Josh Treece, gets so annoyed that at some point he screams at Vasquez and just says, "Okay, we'll just assume you object to everything 1,000 times. Okay, just we'll save us time." He goes back to it, which is kind of my frustration as well.
I think she's scared of.
Go ahead, Sarah.
I think she's scared of losing a relationship.
Well, and then she goes on to say, he steals the man from me, and he replaces him with something terrifying and unrecognizable. Do you see that?
Not yet. Yes.
And that was conveyed to you through this text, was it not? Bon, if you get tired of doing the Vasquez objections, just let us know.
Let's
We'll
just
skip
skip
right
them.
over
Let's
it.
skip them.
All right, because it's the same. It's so tedious.
Yeah, she'd say, I'll do it if she says something different.
Okay,
That's all bullshit there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yep.
There were words. They were the words she used.
Did you call Johnny and say, what's going on? Why is she saying this to you? You're terrified. She's terrified of you. She's scared of you, calling you a demon. Did you have any conversation with her along those lines? Excuse me. Any conversation with him along those lines? I'll give you a run. Okay, so Bon, here's what I'm talking about. So he goes, objection, vague, assumes facts, and then Treece gets all pissed off. He goes, look, I'll just give you a running objection on all of them. Okay, we'll just save us all a lot of time. You don't have to struggle with it. And that's what he's going through it. Because she's trying to throw him off, and where
are you at?
Okay, here we go.
Oh, that's me, is it?
No, we're Vasquez
the bottom or the
Dembrowski.
top?
Go ahead.
It's the bottom. It's me. It's unintelligible. Understand that question. There you go.
Sarah says. So Sarah's on line 2 here. Says.
I don't know where we are.
You're on line 2.
The top.
The witness.
The top.
I think the question is confusing, but I don't recall calling my brother on it.
Well, do you recall seeing this text or any other text where you thought those are alarming statements about what's going on here? I need to call Johnny and find out what's going on.
No.
Why not?
Objection, vague, harassing.
From my dealings with it and understanding of it, Amber was very dramatic all the time, so.
And that's the reason you didn't reach out to Johnny to find out what was going on at that point?
Badgering.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll withdraw that then. Okay, I'm going to direct you to page 43.
Okay.
And do you see the text identified as 70413 from Johnny to you?
Yes.
And he says, I will fucking savage some motherfucker, 9/21/2014.
Yes.
Objection. Misread that. What does she mean by that, John? Does she mean? Is she pulling that back and saying she misread?
Like he didn't say that. They're misquoting him. Like he couldn't possibly have said that, and they're trying to throw him off. Like I know he said it. That sounds like Depp. Go ahead, Sarah. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Do you know why he sent you this?
Objection calls for speculation.
Join.
No.
Was that unusual text for you to get from your brother?
Oh, objection, vague.
I don't know what the context is, sorry.
Well, I'm going to direct you then to page 59.
Okay.
And if you'll take a look in the middle of the page 59, which is Bates number 11298, the number is of the chat, well, I guess this is the specific message, 52720. Chat is 562. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And that's a text message from Stephen Doides to you, correct?
Objection.
Yes.
Okay. And he says, hi, C. I'm not sure how much you're aware right now, but I'm at the house with Kipper, a.k.a. Dr. Feelgood, and Debbie, who are speaking with JD and Amber, respectively, separately. Obviously, things have not calmed down over there in the last day or so. Do you see that?
Yes.
And this is March 7th, 2015. Isn't that right in the text message?
Yes.
And that's when Johnny and Amber went all in. We're actually in Australia, isn't that right?
Objection. Calls for speculation.
Yeah, I believe that was Australia days.
And do you recall Johnny cut his finger off in Australia? And there was a big to-do about that.
Objection, blah, 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 vague, calls for speculation.
See, it's tedious.
It is. I mean, imagine her doing it as a job. Like, you're getting paid really well, but it'd be so boring.
And the guy just said, well, let's save us some time. We'll just do a blanket. You object to everything. Everything we say is bad and wrong, and we'll just assume you say that. And I wonder if you can do that. Or you have to.
It sounds like a really inappropriate thing to say in a court.
You want it on
like
the record, though, when you're recording a
thing to
deposition.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
You can answer, Christie.
Johnny's finger was cut off, yes.
All right. And you turn to page 60, and that's Bates number 11299. Are you with me then?
Yes.
And then you do see there's a text chain there, 426, and there's a text chain 1646, and those texts that you're on that, correct? So that would start at the second line from the top of the third and the end with the third line from the bottom. Do you see that?
Yes.
And so these are all texts that are in March of 2015, correct?
Assumes facts.
Yes.
And you send a text with the line number 29376 to Stephen Doides on March 8th, 2015 at 12:41 p.m. Do you see that? That's the third line from the top.
Yep.
Okay. And you say, oh, wow, poor thing. Much more bandaged than I thought. It makes me so sad. And then you go on to say, if he feels okay to then Captain Jack may need an injury. Do you see that?
Yes.
And that's referring to Johnny's finger, his injury, isn't that right?
Objection, calls for speculation, vague, ambiguous.
Yes.
All right, and you are aware that Amber wanted Johnny to enter into a prenuptial agreement, but he wouldn't agree to do so.
Objection, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. You can say
No.
blah, blah, blah instead if you want.
Mhm.
All right. If you'll take a look at the bottom fourth line from the bottom, this is the one now with the number 71428.
Uh-huh.
And are you aware that Amber was willing to agree to a post-nuptial agreement, but Johnny didn't want to agree to that?
Objection, calls for speculation, etc., etc.
No.
And then Johnny texts you on March 8th, 2015, telling you to cancel the post-nuptial, correct?
Yes, he used those words.
And then you, in fact, called the lawyers for Amber and Johnny and discharged them, right? You terminated their relationship with respect to any post-nuptial agreement. Is that right?
Objection, vague and calls for speculation, assumes facts, blah, blah, blah.
I don't recall that.
Yeah, all right, I'm sure you don't. I'm going to direct you to page 61. And do you see on page 61, there's a Bates number 11300, line 29380.
Yes.
And that's a text from you to Stephen Doiters on March 9, 2015, correct?
Yes.
And you say, just make sure you say you aren't sure how hurt his hand is. Do you see that?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
I don't recall. I would have known the context.
Yeah, well, okay. Do you know any reason why you would have Johnny conceal that, or how hurt his hand even was? You can skip that.
Objection. I need to ask quickly. Have you swapped roles before? Because Sarah's getting the bum's rush here.
I think she likes having the Christie Dembrowski brevity.
Really?
I don't want to be the lawyer. It's
You're
too much
good at
work.
it, though.
No,
it is a
all
lot
right.
of work.
I don't know who.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know who Stephen would be talking to that I would suggest that, so I don't know.
But you did suggest that, didn't you?
I did write that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to view that as marked at Exhibit 7, and I'll also pull that up on the share screen. So let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
We'll end this on this next page. I'm losing my voice. Mr. Dembrowski, this is an email you received from David Kipper on August 18th, 2014. The subject line updated, is it not?
Yeah.
And the update there is with respect to Dr. Kipper's treatment of Johnny's drug and alcohol use. Isn't that right?
Objection, assumes facts, calls for hearsay, misstates the document, calls for speculation. Oh.
It's in reference to a medication, yes, that he was taking.
All right, and I think we're going to flesh that out a little bit here. All right, do you recall that Dr. Kipper and his nurse went to the Bahamas with Amber and Johnny to try to curb his addictions to drug and alcohol use?
Objection, assumes facts, calls for speculation and a lack of absolute foundation.
Yes, regarding the medication that I spoke of, yes.
All right, and you keep saying medication. I mean, you previously sent him those texts that you said stop alcohol, stop coke, stop whatever. Maybe it's stop prescription now, but I'll have to take a look back at that. But you previously sent him a text that said stop drinking, stop coke, stop pills. Is that correct?
Objection. Asked and answered, assumes facts.
Yes, but I would need more context to know why I sent those, so.
Right, sure you do. But you knew he was using coke, correct?
Objection, calls for speculation, calls for hearsay, vague.
Okay, we'll stop right here. This is page 1, what are we, Sarah? 150?
I can't see it, so.
I'm trying to, they don't always say what page, 159. Remember that. Bookmark that, 159. All right. Thank you, Bon, for joining us. I didn't think you were going to make it. It's great to talk to you again. It's been too long.
I've missed you.
Yeah, me
that.
too.
I've emailed you. I love your work. And Sarah, oh my God, I do want to watch Sarah just stare at a wall. It's all, I'm just going to end up staring at a wall now, thinking about that. And John, I want you to as well. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say.
What do you think I do when he's blabbering on during this podcast? I'm staring at a wall.
Blabbering.
Can she say that?
I get it. I'm blabbering, but yours is all you use your words to the maximum efficiency. But I'm blabbering. I get it. I get
Quality, not quantity.
Yes, it's all about quality. Everything you say is quality, and everything I say is gibberish.
It's just quantity, yes.
Obfuscating, filibustering gibberish.
Yes.
I've never had the thought to listen to a podcast and go on and insult somebody on a personal level.
Just you.
21 Jump. So this is 21 Jump Street. Orpheus 3.3 seconds is coming up next in recording. I'm not sure if we're doing it tomorrow.
We
or
force
not.
ourselves to do it tomorrow, even
Until
if
it
it's late at night.
hits. Do not count on that until we actually see it produced. I don't want to hype it before we do it because are you in on it, Sarah? Are you passionate? Are you excited? Or are you just saying?
Well, I'm going to spend my morning and my early afternoon hanging curtains. So
wow.
Once I'm done with that, and I got to do a little bit of packing of the computer room, so I will then, after that, be available to record 21 Jump Street.
Ooh.
All right, with that said,
what color are the curtains? Are they new curtains?
They are, yes, they are a yellow/blue/orange patterned curtain.
Wait.
I can't. I'm so tired.
Kathy, probably next week is going to be West Memphis, Depp Memphis 3 with Liddell Eccles.
Did you say orange, Sarah?
Anyway, this girl Sara has the most amazing body. All she wears is orange.
Mm-hmm. I just wear orange curtains.
So this is ARM for Bon Jovial, and of course Sarah, and of course Steve Sanders, aka Ian Ziering, saying, wait a minute. I always do this. I want to get this right. Saying,
moo, moo, moo. I'm a loser. Eh?
Sit down. Stay where you are. For the first time, I choose to walk out on you.
or 21 Jump.